If you want to win in life, there's one simple thing you need to do every single day: educate yourself. It's not about being perfect, and it's not about waiting for the right moment to start. It's about showing up each day, hungry for knowledge, ready to learn something new that pushes you forward. Think about it. Every successful person you know has one thing in common: they are always learning. They know that to stay ahead in life, to make progress, to win, they must keep educating themselves, day in and day out. That's how they keep growing, how they keep improving, and how they stay focused on their goals. So what does it really mean to educate yourself daily? It's not about memorizing facts or studying for a test. It's about taking time to read, listen, and absorb knowledge that sharpens your mind and helps you make better decisions. It's about being intentional with what you learn, making sure that the knowledge you gain aligns with your dreams and goals. In this audiobook, I'm going to show you how education can be your secret weapon in the game of life. I'll give you practical steps to stay disciplined in your learning habits, tips on how to stay focused, and inspiration to keep going, even when it feels tough. By the end, you'll realize that the key to winning isn't just working harder, it's working smarter by feeding your mind every day. Stick around, because the small changes you make today in how you approach learning can transform your entire life. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Commit to learning something new every single day. There is no change without learning. Nothing improves, nothing evolves, nothing gets better unless you choose to add something new to your understanding. The moment you stop learning is the moment you begin to decline. Learning is not just for school or for formal education. It's the way you sharpen your thoughts. It's the way you expand your awareness, and it's the way you gain control of your life. You can't afford to rely on what you already know. That version of you has already brought you to where you are right now. If you want to go further, you need to feed your mind with new information, new skills, and new experiences. This is the only way to rise above who you were yesterday. The person who is hungry to learn something every day is the person who eventually wins in life. Because they are constantly sharpening their focus. They are upgrading their inner world. They are quietly building a deeper level of discipline and mental strength. You can have all the ambition in the world, but if your mind is stagnant, your results will be too. That's why this first chapter is not just about motivating you to study or consume information. It's about helping you become the kind of person who refuses to stay the same. When you make it your mission to learn something new every single day, your entire perspective begins to shift. Instead of looking at problems with fear, you start to see them as puzzles to solve. Instead of avoiding discomfort, you start to find meaning in the struggle. Instead of blaming others, you take ownership because you realize that your growth is in your hands. This mindset gives you an edge that most people never develop. Most people get stuck because they think they've seen it all. They stop questioning themselves. They repeat the same habits. They think life is supposed to change by itself, but they never change how they think. You can't make that mistake. There is no growth without learning. Every single day is an opportunity to become more aware, more skilled, more resilient. But you have to be deliberate. You can't leave this up to chance. Just hoping you'll learn something randomly throughout the day isn't enough. You have to be intentional. You have to wake up every day with the mindset that your mind needs to be fed, challenged, and pushed forward. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter how much you've struggled. If you can learn something today that improves your decisions tomorrow, you're already creating momentum. Most people spend their days reacting. They wake up and go through the motions. They do the same things, feel the same emotions, and think the same thoughts. The days pass, but they don't grow. They stay busy, but they don't get better. You have to break that cycle. The way to break it is by committing to learning, not just when it's convenient, not just when you're inspired. Every single day. It doesn't need to be something huge. You don't need to read 10 books a week or master a new language overnight. That's not the point. The point is to create a habit of growth. The point is to remind yourself that no day should pass without progress. Even one small insight, one useful idea, one new perspective is enough to shift the direction of your thinking. And when your thinking improves, your actions follow. If you want to take control of your future, you have to build a system that forces you to learn something daily. Maybe it's reading for 15 minutes in the morning. Maybe it's watching a documentary instead of scrolling through social media. Maybe it's reflecting at night and writing down what the day taught you. Whatever method you choose, the principle is the same. Your mind must grow, or your life will shrink. People talk about motivation, about confidence, about chasing success, but very few realize that all of these things are built on the foundation of learning. You can't stay motivated if you're not evolving. You can't gain confidence if you're not getting better. You can't chase success if you don't understand what it takes. Learning fills in those gaps. It sharpens your awareness and gives you tools to move forward with clarity. Every lesson you learn becomes a part of your character. It changes how you think, how you speak, and how you carry yourself. If you wake up every day and aim to improve your mind by just 1%, your life will look completely different within a year. You'll handle pressure better. You'll communicate more clearly. You'll see through distractions faster. You'll start to operate from a place of control rather than chaos. But none of that happens if you don't make learning a non-negotiable part of your day. Learning is not about collecting information. It's about transforming who you are. You can read all the books in the world, but if you don't apply the knowledge, if you don't act on what you've discovered, then nothing will change. So when you commit to learning, you also commit to applying. The idea is not to become a walking encyclopedia. The idea is to become a stronger version of yourself. That strength comes from understanding how to think clearly, how to manage your emotions, how to handle difficult situations, and how to build consistency in everything you do. Think about where you want to be 5 years from now. Think about the life you want to create, the person you want to become. That version of you is not built in one day. It's built by showing up daily, by learning something that sharpens your edge and makes you more equipped to handle the responsibilities of a bigger life. And if you avoid this process, if you stay distracted, passive, or stuck in your comfort zone, then the version of you that you admire will always remain a fantasy. Every great person you admire is a product of continuous learning. Whether they're a leader, a creator, an athlete, or a thinker, they've all committed to learning things others ignore. They're not better than you. They've just disciplined themselves to stay curious. They've made it a priority to grow instead of coast. That's what separates them. That's what makes them uncommon. The good news is that you don't need talent or perfect circumstances to learn. All you need is the decision to never stay the same. You need to wake up and remind yourself that your future is shaped by what you learn today. Even if life is hard, even if the days are messy, even if you don't feel motivated, learning is your way forward. It's your way out of confusion, doubt, and fear. The more you know, the more confident you become. Not arrogant, confident. Because you've earned your understanding. You've built it. You've studied. You've paid attention. That's the kind of confidence that lasts. And when life tests you, and it will, your strength won't come from guesswork or hope. It will come from the lessons you've learned and lived. That's the difference between someone who crumbles under pressure and someone who keeps moving. Learning arms you with clarity, and clarity leads to decisive action. That's how you move through life with purpose. There will be days when you don't feel like learning. Days when you're tired, overwhelmed or frustrated. That's exactly when you must push yourself to learn something anyway. That's how you break through your own limits. That's how you condition your mind to show up no matter how you feel. If you only do what's easy, you'll never grow. But if you discipline yourself to do what's necessary, even when it's hard, then you become the kind of person who can achieve anything. Start with one lesson today. Just one. Learn something that helps you take better care of your health, or something that helps you manage your time better, or something that improves how you treat the people around you. It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you begin. And once you begin, don't stop. Make it a rule that no day ends without you learning something useful. You'll be surprised at how quickly your confidence grows. You'll be surprised at how your thinking changes. You'll be surprised at how different life feels when your mind is expanding every day. This is how you win. Not all at once, not through luck, not by waiting for the perfect opportunity. You win by showing up and learning something every single day. You win by refusing to stay the same. You win by choosing to get better, even when no one is watching. This is your path to strength. This is your foundation for success. This is how you begin to build the life you know you're capable of living. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You just need to commit. One day, one lesson, one step forward. Every single day. That's how the winners are built. Chapter 2. Build a daily reading habit that fuels growth. Every person you admire, every mind that has shaped the world, every leader who moves mountains, was once just someone who picked up a book and decided to never stop learning. That's the truth most people ignore. They want change. They want growth. They want to feel powerful, focused, and in control of their life. But they skip the one habit that creates all of that from the inside out. Reading, not scrolling. Not watching endless noise. Reading, quietly, deliberately, deeply. The habit that separates those who evolve from those who decay. This habit will show you who you could become, if you're willing to make space for it every single day. You have no idea how much power you're leaving on the table if you're not reading daily. And I'm not talking about reading just to pass the time. I'm talking about reading to transform your inner world. Reading with hunger, with intention, with focus. You can sit in your room with a book and download the mind of a genius who lived 200 years ago. You can tap into life lessons earned through pain, failure, war, triumph, solitude, all of it given to you through pages most people are too distracted to open. But you must decide whether you'll continue chasing stimulation or if you'll choose education. That decision changes everything. Reading rewires how you think. It exposes you to better vocabulary, sharper reasoning, and higher quality ideas. You start to see the world differently, not because the world changes, but because your mind does. You become less reactive. You start to question more. You begin to think in layers, in principles, in long-term consequences. And slowly, without even trying, your behavior starts matching your new way of thinking. You stop speaking just to be heard. You stop rushing decisions that cost you peace. You stop following people who are stuck in loops they don't even recognize. Because you've upgraded your software. Most people stay stuck because they never challenge the way they think. Their entire mental life is a collage of surface-level opinions, borrowed beliefs, and half-baked thoughts fed to them by their environment. Reading changes that. It puts you in control. It shows you how to observe, how to question, how to resist being pulled in every direction. If your life feels chaotic, it's because your thinking is chaotic. And if your thinking is chaotic, it's because your input is weak. Reading gives you the strength to direct your mind, instead of letting the world program it for you. And it doesn't take hours, it just takes daily discipline. Even 15 to 30 minutes of focused reading every day is enough to alter the trajectory of your life. The habit compounds. You start noticing the difference within weeks. You become more articulate. You become more strategic. You stop drowning in emotional overreactions. You begin seeing the patterns in people, in yourself, in life. You stop needing external validation. That's what this habit builds. Strength from the inside out. And nobody can take that from you. When you read daily, you're no longer at the mercy of your surroundings. You're feeding your mind something greater. Instead of gossip, you study greatness. Instead of distraction, you dive into depth. You stop wasting hours on meaningless noise and start investing minutes into wisdom that sharpens your edge. And that shift creates momentum. You start thinking, if I can do this daily, what else can I build? You start holding yourself to higher standards, not because someone told you to, but because the version of you who reads daily starts craving more discipline, more structure, more growth. Reading gives you access to thousands of mentors you'll never meet. You can study the mental toughness of Marcus Aurelius. You can understand the quiet discipline of Epictetus. You can learn from the failures and wins of people who walked through fire so you don't have to. You begin to see life through a wider lens. You realize you're not alone in your struggles. You see that your problems aren't unique, and that's comforting, not discouraging. It means there are solutions. It means others have been where you are and found a way forward. That kind of knowledge makes you unstoppable. It grounds you, it humbles you, and it fuels you. And here's the truth most people don't want to face. If you don't build a reading habit, you will fall behind. Not in the sense of success or money, but in the sense of clarity. In the sense of having a sharp mind that can navigate this world without getting manipulated, lost, or overwhelmed. The world is getting louder, more chaotic, more confusing. If you don't take control of your input, you become just another person pulled in every direction, never really thinking for yourself. Reading is how you protect yourself from that trap. It gives you space to reflect, to pause, to breathe, and to think for yourself. You'll start to notice something else once you build this habit. You'll crave solitude, not in a lonely way, but in a powerful way. You'll begin to value quiet time because you know that's when you grow. You'll stop chasing every invite, every distraction, every dopamine hit, because you've built a world inside yourself that's peaceful and expanding. That's the gift of reading. It makes you rich internally, and when you're rich inside, nothing external controls you. Reading teaches you patience. It's not fast, it doesn't reward you instantly, but it builds endurance. It teaches you to stay focused for longer than a few seconds. It strengthens your attention span, and that alone is a superpower in a world addicted to speed. The slower you go with intention, the more powerful you become. You begin to value depth over speed, truth over trends, and wisdom over noise. And the most powerful part, you don't need permission, you don't need a degree, a mentor, or a course to start reading. The tools are right in front of you. There are thousands of books waiting for you to pick them up. But you must make the decision. You must draw the line. You must decide that every day your mind deserves better than another scroll through shallow content. You owe your future more than that. People will tell you they don't have time to read. That's a lie. Everyone has time for what they prioritize. The same person who says they don't have time to read will spend 2 hours scrolling through social media. Time is not the problem. Focus is, clarity is, discipline is, and reading builds all three. If you truly want to change your life, you need to protect your attention like it's sacred, because it is. What you give your attention to becomes your identity. Give it to things that elevate you. You don't need to read 100 books a year. You just need to read consistently. Read what resonates. Read what teaches you something useful. Read what makes you pause and think. And most importantly, apply what you read. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. Highlight what matters. Reflect on what sticks. Let the lessons shape your decisions. That's how reading stops being a passive habit and becomes an active force for transformation. Some days the pages will hit hard. Some days the words will be dry. It doesn't matter. Show up anyway. The habit is more important than the emotion. You're training your mind to stay committed, regardless of how you feel. That muscle will serve you everywhere. In work, in relationships, in crisis. If you only read when it feels good, you're not building discipline. You're just following moods. But when you show up consistently, you start living above emotion. You start becoming a master of your mind. Reading makes you dangerous, in the best way. It makes you hard to manipulate, because you've studied too much truth. It makes you hard to break, because you've built mental armor. It makes you hard to distract, because you know what matters. That kind of inner strength doesn't come from motivation. It comes from habits. And reading daily is one of the most powerful habits you can build. Your brain is the most valuable asset you own, but it can only take you as far as you train it. Reading is that training, and the more you do it, the more you realize how much there is to learn, to unlearn, and to refine. You start seeing life as a school where the learning never ends. And you no longer need someone else to tell you what to do, because you've educated yourself to lead yourself. If there's one habit that will quietly elevate every area of your life over time, it's this one. Read something every day, not to impress others, not to feel smart, but to become a sharper, wiser, more grounded version of yourself. That's what matters. That's what carries weight when life gets hard. And that's what separates those who drift from those who build. Reading builds you. Every day you read, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Start now. Don't wait for the perfect book. Don't wait until you feel motivated. Just begin. Pick up a page, read one sentence, and let it lead you into depth. Build a streak you never break. Create a ritual that becomes part of your identity. Feed your mind the kind of fuel that lifts you above the noise. Your future depends on it, and you're more than capable of making it happen. Choose growth. Choose clarity. Choose books over noise. Start today and never stop. Chapter 3. Write down one lesson you learn each day. The truth is, most people live the same day over and over and call it a life. They wake up, go through the motions, get distracted, complain, repeat. But growth doesn't happen on autopilot. Wisdom doesn't knock on your door while you scroll through your day. If you want to rise above the noise, evolve faster than your circumstances, and stay deeply in touch with your journey, there's one habit that changes everything. Write down one lesson you learn each day. One sentence. One insight. One truth you earned through living. That simple practice will quietly transform your life. Here's why most people feel lost, confused, or disconnected. It's not because they don't experience growth, it's because they never reflect on it. Lessons fly by. Moments that should teach us something disappear into forgetfulness. We get angry, sad, excited, embarrassed. We move on without capturing the meaning. And that's the cost. When you don't write down the lessons, you keep repeating the same mistakes. You stay stuck in loops. You forget who you're becoming. You miss the wisdom life is trying to hand you. But something powerful happens the moment you pause and write. You turn your experience into knowledge. You extract meaning from your pain. You recognize patterns in your thoughts, your behaviors, your decisions. You begin to see yourself not as someone who's just surviving the day, but someone who's constantly learning, improving, becoming. That's how you take ownership of your life, not just by working harder, but by thinking deeper. And reflection is the gateway. This isn't about journaling for hours or writing long essays. It's about a daily ritual of awareness. Just one clear sentence that captures the core of what you learned today. It could be a lesson about how you handled stress, what triggered your frustration, how you responded to rejection, or what worked better when you chose discipline. Some days the lesson will be powerful, other days it might feel small, but over time those daily reflections add up. They create a personal map of your evolution, written by you for you. Most people don't even realize how far they've come, because they don't track their inner progress. They chase external wins, money, status, approval, but ignore the internal shifts. And that's why they stay insecure even after success. Because they don't feel growth, they just feel busyness. They don't see their mental resilience strengthening, their self-control improving, their perspective maturing, because they never stop long enough to acknowledge it. But when you write one lesson a day, you reconnect with your inner world, you validate your progress. You realize you're not the same person you were a year ago, and that alone is empowering. Writing down your lessons keeps your ego in check too. It reminds you that you don't know everything, that you're still learning, that every day is a new chance to understand life better. It humbles you, but it also builds confidence. Because when you see how much you're learning, you start to trust yourself more. You start to believe that no matter what happens, you'll figure it out. You'll extract the wisdom, you'll grow through it. That mindset makes you resilient. It keeps you grounded when things go wrong, and it keeps you focused when things go right. There's something sacred about putting thoughts into words. It slows your mind down. It forces you to think clearly. It gives shape to emotions that otherwise remain vague and heavy. When you write, you see what's actually going on inside you, not what you pretend to feel, but what's real. That kind of honesty is rare, but it's necessary, because growth begins where honesty lives. And when you write one lesson each day, you're practicing radical self-honesty in the simplest form. You start to see patterns in yourself that you'd never notice otherwise. Maybe you keep learning the same lesson about patience, or maybe your biggest insights come after conflict. Maybe your mind spirals when you're tired, or maybe you thrive when you wake up early. The more you write, the more you see these patterns, and the more empowered you become to change what isn't working and double down on what is. This is how you evolve with precision, not guesswork. This is how you grow on purpose. And it only takes a few minutes, but the return on that time is immeasurable. You begin to build a catalog of insights that no book, no mentor, no course could give you, because it's your own life teaching you. And your own life is the most powerful teacher you'll ever have. When you respect it enough to listen, to reflect, to document, it starts rewarding you with deeper clarity, better decisions, and stronger character. You'll also start appreciating your days more, even the hard ones, because you'll see that every day carries a lesson. Nothing is wasted. That failure wasn't just a disappointment, it taught you humility. That conversation wasn't just awkward, it showed you what to avoid. That setback wasn't just bad luck, it taught you how to be patient. And the beauty of this habit is that it shifts your focus. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What did I learn from this?" That mindset is everything. It changes how you respond to life. Writing down one lesson a day doesn't just help you grow, it keeps you connected to your mission. It reminds you that you're not drifting through life. You're building something. You're shaping your mindset, your values, your principles, one day at a time. And that kind of structure is rare in a world that thrives on distraction. But it gives you something solid to hold on to. Something that's real. Something that's yours. Over time you'll look back and see your own evolution in your own handwriting. You'll read the words of the person you used to be, and you'll realize how far you've come. You'll see the moments that changed you. You'll remember the lessons that hurt. You'll relive the insights that made you stronger. That kind of reflection is powerful. It grounds you. It reminds you that even on the days you felt lost, you were still learning. You were still moving forward. You were still becoming. This habit builds trust with yourself. It shows you that you're committed, not just to success, but to growth, not just to looking good, but to becoming wise, not just to avoiding pain, but to learning from it. And that trust becomes your foundation. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop needing approval from everyone else, because you know you're learning every day. You know you're getting better. You know you're doing the work. And that's what this is. Real work. The kind of work that isn't loud or glamorous. The kind that happens in silence with a pen at the end of a long day. But it's the kind of work that matters. The kind of work that builds character. The kind of work that separates the reactive from the reflective. Most people wait for life to teach them a big lesson. But the wise ones, they learn a little every day. They collect those insights. They study themselves, and because of that, they evolve. You have the power to do that too. Right now, all it takes is the decision to start. Grab a notebook, open a document, make it a ritual, end your day by writing the one thing life taught you today. Don't overthink it. Don't try to impress anyone. Just be real. Write what you felt, what you learned, what surprised you, what hurt, what clicked. Just one line of truth every day. That's all it takes. And when you do this long enough, you'll no longer fear mistakes. You'll no longer resent challenges. You'll begin to welcome them, because you'll know they come bearing wisdom. You'll know that no matter what happens, you'll walk away with a lesson. And that lesson becomes your advantage. That's how you turn every situation into growth. That's how you turn your life into a personal university. That's how you become unstoppable. So if you feel stuck, scattered, or unsure of your direction, start here. One lesson a day. One sentence of clarity. Build a habit that sharpens your awareness. Create a record of who you're becoming. Let your life teach you, and honor those teachings with your pen. That's how you gain wisdom. That's how you become resilient. That's how you master yourself. This is your edge. This is your power. Don't let your days blur into one another. Capture the meaning. Find the insight. Write it down every single day. And if you're ready to start now, don't wait. Grab your pen. Reflect on today. What did life teach you? Write it down. Let it shape you. Let it guide you. Because this small habit will quietly become the anchor of your personal growth. You'll look back years from now and realize this was the habit that changed everything. Chapter 4. Ask powerful questions that lead you to truth. Most people aren't stuck because they lack motivation. They're stuck because they're asking the wrong questions. You wake up confused, unsure of your direction, wondering why your life feels like it's looping, but you never stop to question why you do what you do. You repeat patterns, chase things you don't even want, and settle for answers that feel safe instead of answers that feel true. But the truth doesn't show up unless you demand it. And to demand it, you have to ask better questions, not shallow ones, not easy ones, but deep, uncomfortable, soul-piercing questions that rip through the surface of your life and force you to face what's real. This is what most people avoid. Real questions. The ones that can actually free you. They keep themselves distracted, busy, numb. They don't want to pause and ask, what am I running from? Or why do I feel like I'm behind in life? Or if I had to start over, what would I build? Because those kinds of questions threaten the story they've built around themselves. But if you never question your story, you'll never rewrite it. You'll live inside it like a prison, thinking it's your home. You'll confuse routine with purpose and end up wondering why nothing feels fulfilling. Here's the truth. Your life is shaped by the questions you dare to ask. If you only ask surface-level questions, you'll get surface-level results. If you only ask what's convenient, you'll never discover what's transformative. The quality of your thoughts depends on the quality of your questions. So if you want better clarity, better direction, better outcomes, you have to learn to ask powerful questions. Questions that challenge your assumptions. Questions that cut through your excuses. Questions that make you stop, think, feel, and confront. Most people ask questions that reinforce their limitations. Why does this always happen to me? What if I fail? What will people think? These questions don't lead you to truth. They lead you deeper into fear. But when you shift the question, you shift the outcome. Ask instead, what is this trying to teach me? What would I do if I wasn't afraid? What part of me is avoiding responsibility right now? That's where breakthrough begins. That's where truth lives, in the questions that make you uncomfortable. Your life right now is a reflection of the questions you've been asking yourself. If you've been stuck, maybe it's time to ask, what am I avoiding by staying here? If you've been overwhelmed, maybe you should ask, what can I let go of to feel peace again? If you feel empty, maybe it's time to ask, when did I last do something that made me feel alive? These questions pull you inward. They strip away noise. They bring you back to what matters. And if you answer honestly, they will always guide you towards something real. Asking powerful questions is how you build self-awareness. It's how you interrupt the autopilot. It's how you start seeing your blind spots. Everyone has patterns they can't see because they've never stopped long enough to examine them. But when you begin to question your thoughts, your habits, your beliefs, you start seeing the invisible walls around you. And once you see them, you can break them. But here's what makes powerful questions so rare. Most people aren't ready to handle honest answers. That's why they don't ask. Because deep down, they know the truth will challenge their comfort. It'll force them to make different choices. And truth requires courage. You might realize the relationship you're in is draining you. You might admit that your career path is out of alignment. You might have to face the fact that you've been betraying your values for acceptance. But those realizations, as painful as they are the starting point of transformation. There is no growth without truth. And there is no truth without asking. Start asking yourself questions that provoke something deep. Questions like, what does success really mean to me? Not what the world says. Not what your parents want. But you. What do you want? Ask, what am I pretending not to know? That one will shake you. Because often, you already know what needs to change. You're just afraid to admit it. Ask, what have I tolerated for too long? Ask, what version of me am I afraid to let go of? Ask, what kind of life would I create if I stopped apologizing for who I am? And don't just ask once. Ask often. Ask daily. Your clarity grows in layers. You might ask today and get one answer, but ask the same question a month from now, and it hits you differently. That's the beauty of evolving. You outgrow your old answers. But only if you keep asking. The right question at the right moment can shift your entire life. You could be spiraling, stuck in fear, and one question, what am I really afraid of, can unravel the whole illusion. You could be burned out and frustrated, and one question, am I chasing something that matters to me, or something that just looks good, can redirect your path entirely. This is how you awaken. This is how you get back in control. The strongest people aren't the ones with all the answers. They're the ones who keep asking. They don't get lazy with their thinking. They don't avoid discomfort. They go deeper. They challenge their own perspectives. They interrogate their own motives. And because of that, they evolve faster. They adapt faster. They heal faster. Because truth moves them forward. And they have the courage to face it. Start building a habit of asking powerful questions every day. Before you react, ask, what's really triggering me right now? Before you make a decision, ask, is this aligned with my values or my fears? Before you say yes to something, ask, will this bring me closer to who I want to become? These questions keep you anchored in purpose. They protect your energy. They filter your actions. They save you from wasting years chasing things that don't fulfill you. There's a version of you you haven't met yet. Someone more focused, more free, more aligned. That version is buried under assumptions, fears, distractions, and only the right questions will uncover it. Every time you ask a question that digs deeper, you chip away at the lies you've believed. You shed the identities you've outgrown. You break through the noise and hear your own voice again. This habit will change your relationships too. When you stop blaming and start asking, everything shifts. Instead of why are they like that, ask, what boundary have I not enforced? Instead of why don't they understand me, ask, have I communicated my truth clearly? These kinds of questions put you back in your power. They stop you from outsourcing your happiness. They make you responsible, not reactive. When you feel lost, confused, overwhelmed, don't rush for solutions. Don't look for someone to fix you. Ask questions, not to get quick answers, but to reconnect with yourself. Ask with sincerity. Ask with depth. Let the answers come in waves. Some will arrive instantly. Others will unfold slowly. That's okay. The point is to stay curious. Stay awake. Stay engaged with your own evolution. You don't need more advice. You need more self-inquiry. You already have so much wisdom inside you, but it's buried under the noise of other people's expectations. When you ask better questions, you strip all that away. You get to the core. You find your own truth. And once you do, once you see it, feel it, speak it, No one can take that away from you. So let this be your invitation. Every single day, ask one question that scares you a little. One question that makes you stop and think. One question that pulls you out of autopilot and back into presence. You don't need to figure everything out today. You just need to start asking the kind of questions that lead you home to yourself. And if you do that, if you commit to the search for truth, you will become unshakable. Not because life gets easier, but because you will no longer be blind to it. You'll see with clarity. You'll move with intention. You'll live with depth. Start now. Right now. Ask yourself, what truth have I been avoiding? And then sit with it. Don't run. Don't numb. Just listen. Let the question do its work. Let it peel back the layers. Let it lead you to something real. This is the beginning of everything. The beginning of healing. The beginning of alignment. The beginning of becoming who you were meant to be. If this stirred something in you, don't just nod and scroll away. Pick up a journal. Look yourself in the mirror. Ask the questions that matter. And don't stop asking, because the more truth you're willing to face, the more freedom you'll find. This is how you evolve. This is how you rise. Ask, listen, ask, repeat. That's the formula. That's the path. And if you walk it, no matter where you start, you will find yourself. You will meet your truth, and your truth will set you free. Chapter 5. Reflect deeply on your mistakes and fix them. The greatest prison isn't your past, it's your refusal to learn from it. Everyone makes mistakes. You've made them. I've made them. Some cost us time, others cost us people, opportunities, even parts of ourselves we never get back. But the real tragedy isn't the mistake. It's when we bury it, deny it, justify it, or pretend it didn't happen. That's what chains you to regret. That's what keeps you spinning in circles, wondering why your life never changes. You don't move forward by ignoring the past. You move forward by facing it with brutal honesty and asking yourself, what did this teach me? And what do I need to fix now? But here's the hard part. It takes real courage to sit with your own failures and not run. It takes maturity to own your role in your pain. Most people would rather blame the world, point fingers, rewrite the narrative to protect their ego. That feels easier in the moment, but it's a slow death to your growth. If you never look your mistakes in the eye, they'll run your life from the shadows. They'll show up in your relationships, your habits, your self-worth. You'll keep repeating the same cycles, thinking life is punishing you, when really, it's just reflecting you. You have to understand this. Mistakes are messengers. They're not here to destroy you. They're here to reveal what still needs healing. That moment you snapped in anger, that person you pushed away, that opportunity you missed because of fear. Those aren't just regrets. They're road signs pointing to areas where you still need to evolve. And if you're brave enough to reflect, you'll see the pattern beneath the surface. You'll realize it wasn't just about what happened. It was about what you did, what you chose, what you ignored, and what you refused to face. The most powerful transformations in life don't begin with motivation. They begin with self-awareness, and self-awareness comes from reflection, not just remembering the mistake, but dissecting it. Asking yourself, why did I do that? What fear was controlling me? What story was I believing at the time? What value did I betray? What could I have done differently? These aren't comfortable questions, but they are necessary ones, because the goal is not to punish yourself. The goal is to understand yourself, and from understanding comes correction, and from correction comes growth. Nobody rises by staying blind to their weaknesses. You become powerful by knowing exactly where you fall short, and then doing something about it. You don't build self-respect by pretending to be perfect. You build it by saying, "Yes, I messed up, and I'm doing the work to make it right." That's how you become the kind of person you admire. That's how you become trustworthy to yourself and to others. You take responsibility for the pain you've caused, even if no one's watching. You clean up your messes. You don't just apologize, you change, because that's what real change looks like. Not a dramatic post, not a tearful confession, not a temporary burst of effort. Real change is quiet. It's when you look at your own reflection and say, "I'm not proud of what I did, but I refuse to be defined by it." It's when you rebuild the parts of yourself you broke. It's when you show up differently because you chose to, because you finally saw the cost of staying the same. And that's where many people get stuck. They think reflection means shame, but it doesn't. Reflection isn't about hating yourself for who you were. It's about taking responsibility for becoming who you could be. Mistakes are part of your path, but whether they become weight or wisdom is up to you. You can carry them like a burden, or use them like a lesson. You can let them haunt you, or you can let them sharpen you, but you have to choose. When was the last time you really examined your life, not to criticize it, but to learn from it? When did you last stop and ask yourself, what patterns do I keep repeating? What kind of energy do I bring into my relationships? What am I running from? Who have I hurt? And how can I begin to repair that damage, not just with words but with action? That's the power of deep reflection. It shows you where you've gone off course. It reveals the truth you've been avoiding. And most importantly, it gives you the insight to realign. Every time you reflect with honesty, you gain a new level of wisdom. You see more clearly. You make better decisions. You catch yourself faster. You stop being reactive and start becoming intentional. That's when your life begins to change. Not because the world got easier, but because you got wiser. You're not supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be progressing, and progress only happens when you're willing to stop pretending. If something in your life feels off right now, don't distract yourself with busyness. Don't numb yourself with noise. Go deeper. Ask yourself, what am I refusing to look at? What lesson is life trying to teach me right now through this mistake? Because every moment of pain holds a hidden instruction. Every setback contains a seed of truth. And if you don't reflect, you'll miss it. You'll go on repeating the same arguments, falling for the same people, sabotaging your own progress, until you finally pause and say, until you decide to look inward, not outward, to ask yourself the questions you've been avoiding, to admit where you were wrong, not so you can feel bad, but so you can do better. That's what makes a person unshakable, not their perfection but their ownership, not their image but their integrity. They reflect, they fix, they grow, and because of that, they move through life with confidence, not arrogance but clarity. They know who they are. They've cleaned up their past. They've taken responsibility for their flaws, and that gives them real power. Quiet power, unbreakable power, the kind of power you can't fake. You want to become that person? Start here. Take one mistake from your past, just one, and sit with it. Replay it in your mind, not to feel guilty, but to gain insight. What did that moment teach you about your triggers, your fears, your values, your ego? What part of you wasn't aligned with who you truly want to be? And now, what can you do about it? What conversation can you have? What habit can you change? What boundary can you set? What apology can you give, not for approval but for accountability? This is how you take back control. This is how you rebuild trust in yourself. Because the more willing you are to reflect and repair, the more confident you become in your ability to navigate life. You stop fearing failure, because you know you'll learn. You stop fearing loss, because you know you'll adapt. You stop fearing mistakes, because you know you'll grow. Most people carry their past like a burden, but you're going to turn it into a compass, a map, a guide, not by erasing what happened, but by evolving because of it. By saying, I see it, I own it, I'm fixing it, and I'm not going back. That's the work. That's the path. It's not always pretty. It's not always easy. But it's the only way to create a life you're proud of. A life that reflects who you've become, not who you used to be. And if you stay committed to this process of reflection, correction, and consistent action, you will rise, not just once, but every time you fall. So the next time you feel like you've failed, don't retreat. Don't collapse into shame. Pause, reflect, ask, what can I learn? What can I fix? What can I improve? And then do it. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. This is the path to your next level. This is how you break your patterns. This is how you reclaim your peace. And if you felt something shift in you while listening to this, don't let that feeling fade. Grab a pen. Sit down with yourself. Be honest. Be raw. Write it out. Face it. Then act. Don't wait for a perfect moment to make things right. The moment is now. The mirror is in front of you. The next version of you is waiting. But it starts with reflection. It starts with accountability. And it starts with the decision to no longer repeat what broke you. Own your mistakes. Fix what you can. Let go of what you can't. But never stop growing. Never stop reflecting. Because the more you learn from your past, the more powerful your future becomes. Chapter 6. Watch educational videos instead of wasting time online. Your time is the most valuable thing you have. Stop wasting it on distractions that don't move you forward. Every time you scroll mindlessly through your phone, every time you lose yourself in the void of social media, you're letting your greatest asset slip through your fingers. But what if I told you there's a simple shift you can make that will drastically change the way you use your time? What if you could replace those wasted moments with something that would elevate your mind, your career, your life? What if you could turn every second of free time into an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve yourself? This isn't some vague self-help fluff. This is about real, actionable transformation. Every time you choose to watch an educational video instead of scrolling through your feed, you're investing in the most important project of your life. You. Most people spend their time on things that make them feel good in the moment, but leave them empty, unfulfilled, and no closer to their goals. You know the cycle. You wake up, check your phone, get distracted, waste hours, and end the day feeling like you've accomplished nothing. But here's the reality: you don't have to stay stuck in that cycle. You don't have to keep wasting your precious time on things that don't serve your future. All you need to do is make a shift. Instead of wasting hours on content that doesn't push you forward, you can consume knowledge that will change your perspective, expand your abilities, and bring you closer to your goals. This isn't about just consuming any content. It's about making a conscious decision to consume content that educates, inspires, and challenges you to think differently. Whether it's personal development, business strategies, health tips, or something else that feeds your curiosity, the internet is full of free, high-quality resources waiting for you to tap into them. You just have to make the choice to stop wasting your time and start using it to level up. But it's hard, right? We all know how easy it is to get lost in an endless rabbit hole of mindless content. The brain is wired for instant gratification, and social media platforms are designed to keep you hooked. But that's the trap. It's designed to steal your time and energy, and it does it effortlessly. You feel like you're connecting, you feel like you're entertained, but in reality, you're just a consumer, passive, unproductive, and stuck. If you want to break free, if you want to start making real progress in your life, you have to make an intentional decision. Start using that time to learn something valuable. Instead of watching mindless entertainment, start watching videos that challenge you, inspire you, and teach you how to improve. There are countless experts, thought leaders, and creators out there offering free, high-quality content on every topic imaginable. All you have to do is make the decision to switch gears and start feeding your brain with content that serves you. What does this look like in practice? It's simple. Instead of checking social media first thing in the morning, start by watching a video on a topic that interests you or one that you know will bring value to your life. Want to learn about personal finance? There's an endless amount of material out there. Interested in building better habits? There are experts who've written books, made videos, and created courses that can guide you. Want to build a successful business or learn to lead better? There are countless resources waiting to be consumed. The key is to replace your passive consumption with active learning. Instead of getting lost in videos that offer nothing more than temporary amusement, start choosing videos that push you to think, grow, and apply what you learn. Start with a 10-minute video, and before you know it, you'll have replaced a habit of wasting time with a habit of learning, growing, and becoming more knowledgeable every day. Here's the thing, we all have the same 24 hours. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't necessarily talent, it's how they use their time. And the most successful people, the ones who constantly grow, evolve, and reach new heights. They understand that every minute is an opportunity to learn. They consume content that challenges them, makes them think, and helps them grow. They know that true growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when you stretch your mind, when you push yourself to explore new ideas, and when you make a habit of absorbing information that challenges your current thinking. Now, I know what you might be thinking. But I don't have time to watch educational videos. I'm busy. You're not alone. Everyone feels busy these days. But the truth is, the time you think you're too busy for is the same time that could be spent making yourself smarter, sharper, and more capable. It's about using every available moment to your advantage. You don't need hours. Start with just 10 or 20 minutes a day. That's it. Over time, those small pockets of learning will add up, and before you know it, you'll be consuming knowledge like a sponge, filling your mind with tools, strategies, and wisdom that will elevate your life. Imagine this for a second. You wake up in the morning, and instead of reaching for your phone to scroll through social media or watch the latest viral video, you decide to watch a short educational video. Maybe it's a TED Talk on leadership. Maybe it's a video on time management. Maybe it's a tutorial on how to invest your money wisely. It doesn't matter what the topic is. What matters is that you've made a conscious decision to use that time to learn something valuable. You watch, absorb, and apply. You take one actionable piece of knowledge from that video and apply it to your day. And then you do it again tomorrow. Before you know it, You'll have spent weeks and months absorbing valuable information that helps you grow. Your mind will be sharper. Your skills will be more advanced. Your confidence will increase. And as you continue this habit of learning, your life will begin to shift. You'll become more competent, more capable, and more confident in your ability to achieve your goals. Here's where the magic happens. The more you learn, the more your self-esteem grows. You stop feeling like you're stuck. You stop feeling like you don't know enough. You stop feeling like you can't keep up with the fast-paced world around you. Instead, you feel empowered. You feel capable. You feel in control. That's the power of consuming valuable content. It's not just about filling your mind with random facts or information. It's about taking control of your growth. It's about investing in yourself every single day. When you make this shift, when you consciously choose to use your time to learn rather than waste it on distractions, you'll notice something incredible. Your life will begin to change. But this isn't just about you. Imagine what this shift could do for the people around you. Imagine if everyone started using their time to learn and grow instead of wasting it on things that don't matter. What kind of world could we create? How much more productive, successful, and fulfilled could we all be? So I challenge you right now. Today, make the decision. Stop wasting your time on content that adds no value to your life. Choose to watch something educational. Learn something that will push you forward. Invest in your future, because your time is valuable, and it's time you started using it to build the life you deserve. The world is full of knowledge, full of resources, full of wisdom, just waiting to be consumed. All it takes is the courage to step away from distractions and make the choice to grow. So the next time you find yourself mindlessly scrolling, ask yourself, is this really the best use of my time? Or could I be doing something that moves me closer to my goals? Your future self will thank you for making the decision to watch, learn, and grow. Chapter 7. Surround yourself with people who love to learn. If you spend your life around people who don't want to grow, you will start shrinking without even realizing it. There is no faster way to destroy your ambition than to constantly surround yourself with people who are comfortable staying the same. People who resist change. People who fear growth. People who mock learning because it exposes what they haven't done. You need to hear this. Your environment isn't just influencing you, it's shaping you. Every conversation, every opinion, every attitude you absorb from others is either building you up or tearing you down. And if you keep exposing yourself to people who fear knowledge, who hate progress, who waste time chasing comfort instead of excellence, you will become one of them. Even if your heart wants more. Even if your soul knows you're capable of greatness. If you don't protect your surroundings will poison your potential. You want to evolve? Then start spending time with people who are obsessed with learning. People who wake up curious. People who read, question, explore, challenge, and refuse to accept average. People who push their minds every day because they know that the most valuable asset they own is their ability to grow. The truth is, hunger is contagious. Curiosity is magnetic. You put one ambitious person in a room with 5 lazy people, and eventually the ambitious one either leaves or becomes the 6th lazy person. But put a lazy person in a room filled with learners, dreamers, builders, and thinkers, and you'll see them start to change. Because energy rubs off, focus spreads. And if you're lucky enough to be around people who see every day as a chance to improve, your life will shift without you even trying to force it. But you have to be intentional. You can't let your circle be random. Most people just accept whoever is around them, family, childhood friends, co-workers, as their tribe. But if those people aren't growing, you have to ask yourself a hard question. Do I want to stay loyal to their comfort, or do I want to stay loyal to my purpose? Growth is not personal, it's directional. And if your direction is forward, you can't afford to be tied to people who are walking backward. Think about this. What kind of conversations are you having daily? Are you talking about ideas, goals, growth, and innovation? Or are you talking about gossip, drama, problems, and fear? Because your conversations reveal your future. The moment you start speaking with people who challenge you mentally, your own thinking sharpens. They introduce new books, new tools, new mindsets. They share breakthroughs, not breakdowns. They don't let you sit in excuses. They call you out, they call you up, and they don't let you settle. You need people around you who are obsessed with evolving. People who treat learning as a lifestyle, not as a once-a-year thing. People who find joy in becoming better, not just in what they do, but in who they are. These people will shift your standards. They will raise your expectations. You will find yourself thinking bigger, questioning more, and no longer tolerating mediocrity. You'll catch yourself making better decisions because they make better decisions. You'll start valuing your time because they value their time. You'll find new passions, new insights, new habits, just from being in the same space as them. You don't even have to try to change. Just by watching them live, you get pulled into a higher vibration. But to find these people, you have to leave the comfort of the old. That might mean saying no to invitations that lead nowhere. That might mean walking away from people who once meant something to you, but now resist everything you're trying to become. That might mean spending more time alone for a while, as you search for new connections that align with your future. It's not easy, but it's necessary. And don't make the mistake of thinking that surrounding yourself with learners means only hanging around smart people. It's not about IQ. It's about hunger. It's about humility. It's about being open. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are the ones who know they don't know everything and chase knowledge anyway. They listen deeply. They ask real questions. They admit when they're wrong. They aren't trying to look impressive. They're trying to get better. That's who you want to be around. Because here's what happens when you're surrounded by people like that. You start to believe more is possible. You stop settling. You stop making excuses. You start taking action. You stop talking yourself out of your dreams. You start experimenting, testing, failing, and trying again. You start becoming the kind of person who actually lives a life most people only talk about. And it becomes normal. That's the magic of the right environment. It rewires your definition of normal. You stop thinking average is acceptable. You stop viewing struggle as a sign of weakness and start seeing it as a sign of progress. You stop fearing change and you start craving it. I'm telling you right now, your circle is either your cage or your launch pad, and it's your responsibility to choose which one it becomes. Every day you spend with people who hate learning is a day you're learning how to stay stuck. Every moment you give to someone who fears growth is a moment you're reinforcing stagnation. You can't want change while being surrounded by those who resist it. You can't chase greatness while hanging with people who complain about effort. You can't unlock your potential while absorbing the energy of people who've buried theirs. You have to get serious about who you let into your space. And if you can't find anyone around you who loves to learn, start with online communities. Follow people who push your thinking. Watch content that expands your perspective. Read books written by minds that stretch yours. Join groups. Attend workshops. Reach out to mentors. The digital world is full of thinkers, creators, and learners. Tap into that. Build your own learning circle. Even if it starts with just one other person who shares your hunger, that's enough. Because hunger multiplies, curiosity grows, and once you start moving in the direction of growth, you'll attract more people who are on the same path. This isn't just about building friendships, it's about building a life of constant evolution, a life of purpose, a life of fulfillment. The people around you will either push you into that life or pull you away from it. And you can't afford to wait until someday to make the shift. Because every day counts. Every interaction matters. Every conversation shapes your beliefs. And every belief becomes a decision that moves you closer to your dream or away from it. So today, look at your circle. Listen to the people you spend the most time with. Are they building you? Are they challenging you? Are they helping you think bigger, learn faster, live stronger? Or are they keeping you where you are? Be honest, because your future depends on that answer. If you truly want to change your life, change your environment. If you want to grow, grow with people who are growing. If you want to be wise, walk with those who seek wisdom. If you want to rise, rise with learners. And if no one around you is ready to grow, be the one who starts the fire. Be the one who sets the standard. Be the one who learns out loud. Show others what's possible. Inspire them by becoming the proof. Because someone out there is waiting to meet a person like you, a person who's hungry, curious, relentless, and ready to grow. But it starts with you choosing to surround yourself with that same energy. Because when you do, everything changes. Now go find your circle. Build it if you have to. Guard it. Grow with it. And never settle for less. Chapter 8. Turn challenges into daily lessons that build strength. Every challenge you face is either a reason to quit or a lesson that can change your entire life. What you choose to do with it defines who you become. Most people waste their struggles. They suffer through the pain, but they don't learn from it. They get knocked down, but they don't ask why. They feel overwhelmed, but they never stop to extract the lesson hiding inside the storm. They run from difficulty, thinking they're escaping the problem, but they're only running away from their own growth. And that's the biggest tragedy of all, because life isn't happening to punish you. It's happening to shape you. And every obstacle, every setback, every tough moment you're facing right now, there's a message in it, but you have to be willing to listen. Think about it. The strongest people you know weren't handed strength. They earned it. Not by living in ease, but by going through things they didn't think they'd survive. They had moments where everything fell apart. Moments where the pressure felt unbearable, moments where they questioned themselves, doubted their worth, and wondered if it was all worth it. But they didn't just survive those moments, they studied them. They turned pain into insight, struggle into strategy, and every time life tried to break them, they took notes. They used what hurt them to build what would protect them next time. That's the mindset that transforms lives. It's easy to wish things were easier. It's natural to crave comfort. But comfort never teaches you anything. Ease doesn't develop resilience. And success that comes without a struggle can't be sustained. Because when life finally hits you, you won't have the mental armor to handle it. That's why you must learn to see your challenges differently. Stop asking why me, and start asking, what is this teaching me? Because if you can flip that switch, if you can reframe your toughest moments as training instead of punishment, you become unstoppable. Every day life throws something at you, a delay, a betrayal, a failure, a fear, and each one of those moments holds a choice. Will you complain, or will you reflect? Will you react, or will you respond with wisdom? Will you see it as something unfair, or will you extract a lesson that makes you better? That mindset, right there, is the beginning of mastery. Not mastery of the world, but mastery of yourself. The people who rise in life are not the ones who avoid difficulty. They're the ones who face it head-on and ask the right questions. What can I learn from this? What part of me needs to grow to overcome this? What belief do I need to upgrade? What habit do I need to kill? What truth do I need to face? They don't waste time in self-pity. They don't drown in excuses. They look pain in the face and say, "Teach me." And pain becomes their professor. Here's something you need to remember. If you don't learn the lesson, life will repeat the experience over and over. Different people, different places, but the same test, the same emotions, the same cycle, until you finally stop and realize, this isn't about them, this is about me, my reaction, my mindset, my growth. Because life doesn't move you forward until you evolve, and the sooner you accept that, the faster your breakthroughs will come. What if you started treating your daily frustrations like feedback? What if instead of getting angry at setbacks, you studied them like a detective? What if every bad day became a classroom? You'd stop fearing problems and start respecting them, because you'd know they're not here to destroy you. They're here to develop you. This is the truth most people never realize. The challenge is the training. The struggle is the gym. The heartbreak is the teacher. The stress is the signal. Every uncomfortable emotion is pointing to something deeper that needs attention. Your anger shows where you feel powerless. Your jealousy shows what you desire, but don't believe you can have. Your anxiety shows where you're afraid to lose control. These aren't just problems, they're clues, and when you follow them, you start to understand yourself on a level most people never reach. But this takes courage. It's easier to blame. It's easier to numb. It's easier to avoid. But avoidance creates weakness, and weakness keeps you stuck. If you want strength, you have to earn it. You have to lean into the discomfort. You have to sit with the pain. You have to be willing to feel what most people run from. That's how you grow. That's how you become the person who doesn't crumble when life hits hard. That's how you build mental muscle. And the beautiful thing is, you can start right now. You don't need to wait for some giant crisis to wake you up. Look at your current life. Look at the little things that frustrate you, the habits you hate, the patterns that drain you, the people who trigger you. Instead of brushing them off, ask yourself, what can I learn here? What is this moment trying to teach me? And then apply that lesson. Make one small change, one improvement, one insight that changes how you act next time. That's how you build strength daily. Not by reading quotes or watching motivation, but by living the mindset, moment by moment. The truth is, most people don't lack motivation, they lack reflection. They're going through life on autopilot, repeating mistakes, ignoring signals, and wondering why nothing changes. But growth requires awareness. You have to slow down long enough to actually observe your life. You have to ask better questions. You have to become your own coach, your own therapist, your own teacher. No one is coming to fix you, but everything you need to evolve is already inside you, if you're willing to pay attention. So the next time you feel like life is pushing you to your limits, stop and breathe. Don't react. Reflect. Ask, what am I being called to learn right now? Is this moment asking me to grow in patience, discipline, courage, or clarity? Is this setback showing me a weakness I need to strengthen? Is this failure teaching me how to approach things differently next time? When you start living like this, intentionally, curiously, humbly, you become unshakable. And here's the truth. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about always having the right answer. It's about staying in the process. It's about showing up every day with a mindset that says, whatever life throws at me, I will learn from it. I will grow from it. I will not waste it. That's how you build strength that lasts. Not fake confidence, not external validation, but real, internal, earned confidence that comes from knowing you've faced yourself and evolved. So if you're going through something hard right now, good. You're being stretched. You're being trained. And if you choose to see the lesson, you'll come out of it wiser, stronger, and more capable than you ever imagined. But you have to choose. You have to stop seeing yourself as a victim of life and start seeing yourself as a student of life. You have to turn the page and stop repeating the same chapter. You have to become the kind of person who transforms pain into power, fear into fuel, and setbacks into stepping stones. Because at the end of the day, the people who grow the most are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who decided that no matter how hard it got, they were going to extract value from every experience. That's how you win. That's how you grow. That's how you build strength that nobody can take from you. So let this be your reminder. Every day life is teaching you something. And the only question is, are you paying attention? Now go out there and turn your challenges into training. Let the pain shape you. Let the resistance refine you. Let every single difficulty become a lesson that fuels your evolution. Don't waste another moment waiting for things to get easier. Become the person who gets stronger. Be the one who learns daily, grows daily, evolves daily. Because that's the only way to live a life that truly belongs to you. Chapter 9. Use a journal to track your growth every day. You are only one journal entry away from transforming your life. In a world that is constantly moving, constantly pulling us in 1,000 directions, there's one tool that holds the power to center us, to ground us, and to keep us on the path to greatness. A simple journal. But this isn't just about writing down your thoughts for the sake of it. This is about tracking your growth every single day and using that record to reflect, to improve, and to measure the most important thing in your life, your progress. You see, life doesn't just happen to you, it happens with you, and it's your daily choices that shape who you're becoming. But how do you track these choices? How do you know if you're moving forward or standing still? The answer lies in the power of journaling. It's more than just a habit, it's a way of measuring the invisible changes, the ones that slowly build up and add up to something massive. Each entry is a snapshot of your journey. Each word, each sentence, each page is a reminder that you are actively creating the life you want to live. But too many people underestimate the power of a journal. They see it as just a space for rambling thoughts, maybe a few lines here and there to record events, but they miss the point. Journaling isn't just about recording what happens to you, it's about reflecting on how you can grow from it, how you can evolve from every challenge, every victory, every mistake. When you journal daily, you're setting yourself up to become the best version of yourself, not in a month, not in a year, but right now. It forces you to stop and think. It forces you to reflect on your actions and your mindset. And when you do this consistently, you unlock a level of self-awareness that's rare. You start noticing patterns. You start seeing where you're excelling and where you need to improve. You start noticing the areas where you're falling short, and more importantly, you learn exactly what to do to correct them. Have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions, like time is passing, but you're not really progressing. You set goals, but they feel distant, out of reach. The truth is, without a clear way to track your growth, it's easy to feel lost. It's easy to get distracted by all the noise around you, to let external circumstances dictate your mindset. But when you have a journal that tracks your progress, you can see exactly how far you've come. You can see the small steps you've taken every single day that add up to big wins. It's like having a map to guide you when the road gets unclear. Imagine this: every night you sit down with your journal. You reflect on your day. What went well? What didn't go as planned? What did you learn from it all? By asking yourself these questions, you don't just passively experience life, you actively learn from it. You become a student of your own growth. And every entry in your journal is a blueprint for the next step forward. But journaling isn't just about tracking your actions, it's also about tracking your thoughts. Our thoughts shape everything we do. They shape our beliefs, our habits, and ultimately, our reality. Most people go through life without ever questioning their thoughts, but the greatest achievers in life are the ones who take the time to examine their minds. They understand that to change their circumstances, they must first change their thinking. When you write down your thoughts every day, you give yourself the chance to change what no longer serves you. You see the thoughts that hold you back, the fears that keep you stuck, and the beliefs that limit your potential. Your journal is where you begin the process of eliminating these mental barriers. It's where you turn negative thinking into positive actions. It's where you take the fears that keep you awake at night and transform them into fuel for your dreams. When you track your growth daily, you don't just see your progress, you see the patterns in your thinking that might be holding you back. And when you identify these patterns, you can start to change them. That's where real transformation happens. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of journaling is how it connects you to your future. Every time you write down your goals, your desires, your dreams, you are creating a vision for what's possible. And with every entry, you become more and more aligned with that future. You start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You start attracting people and situations that align with your goals. Your journal is a mirror that reflects back the person you're becoming. And with every entry, you become more and more in tune with the best version of yourself. You see, the most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who are constantly evaluating and re-evaluating their progress. They are the ones who take daily inventory of their actions, their thoughts, and their growth. They understand that success isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. And journaling is one of the most powerful tools you can use to stay on track. The beauty of journaling is that it's personal. It's your space to explore, to reflect, and to improve. There are no rules, only what works for you. Some people use their journal to write down goals and intentions. Others use it to reflect on their emotions, their experiences, or their fears. Some use it to track their habits and progress. The key is to make it your own, to use it as a tool that supports your unique journey. You can write in it every day, or once a week. It's up to you. But the key is consistency. The more you commit to tracking your growth, the clearer your path will become. As you look back over your journal entries, you'll start to see something incredible. The change isn't as slow as it sometimes feels. It's happening every day, in the smallest moments. The habits you're building, the mindset shifts, the lessons learned, they all add up. And when you see it on paper, you realize just how much you've grown. But here's the most powerful part: your journal becomes a blueprint for the future. It's a record of your progress, your strengths, and your weaknesses. It's a reminder that you have everything inside you to succeed. And every time you open it, you're reminded of that fact. You see the victories you've won, you see the lessons you've learned, and you realize you are not the person you were yesterday. You are always evolving. And that's what makes journaling so special. It's a process of becoming. It's about writing down who you are today and who you're becoming tomorrow. It's about tracking not just your actions, but your evolution. The more you track your growth, the more you see yourself as the person who is capable of achieving great things. Your journal doesn't just hold your thoughts, it holds your future. And as you continue writing, you become the person who makes that future a reality. So start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment to begin journaling. Start now, with whatever you have. The process of tracking your growth doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be consistent. Write about your wins, your struggles, your goals, your lessons. And in time you will see the beautiful progress that comes from looking inward, reflecting on your journey, and taking ownership of your growth. When you track your growth every day, you're not just writing in a book. You're crafting the blueprint of your life. You're building the foundation of your future, one entry at a time. So make today the day you begin. Take that first step, open that journal, and start writing. Because with every word you write, you're one step closer to the person you were always meant to be. And that person, they're already inside you, waiting to be unlocked. Chapter 10. Study one great thinker and apply their wisdom. There is a treasure trove of wisdom at your fingertips, waiting to be unlocked, waiting to shape the way you think, the way you act, and the way you live. And it doesn't require a lifetime of research or searching. It only requires one thing, the willingness to study a great thinker and apply their wisdom to your life. You might be wondering, why one great thinker? Because throughout history, some individuals have reached such profound levels of insight, clarity, and understanding that their wisdom has transcended generations. The great minds, the philosophers, the innovators, the dreamers, have left us a map to navigate life's most complex challenges. These people weren't born with some extraordinary ability that you don't have. What they had was the discipline to study, the courage to question, and the wisdom to share. When you study one great thinker, you aren't just absorbing knowledge, you're entering a new world. Their ideas don't just sit in books or classrooms, they come alive in your mind. They shape how you see your challenges, your opportunities, and your purpose. When you apply their wisdom, you're not just learning facts, you're learning how to live. The world we live in is chaotic, uncertain, and often overwhelming. But through the lens of a great thinker's philosophy, the fog begins to clear. You begin to see the bigger picture, to understand the underlying principles that govern life, success, and fulfillment. The answers you've been seeking, they were there all along, just waiting to be uncovered. So who is this great thinker you will study? The choice is entirely yours. It could be someone like Marcus Aurelius, whose Stoic philosophy teaches the art of resilience and inner peace in the face of hardship. Or someone like Aristotle, whose ideas about virtue and character have shaped the foundations of modern ethics. Maybe it's Confucius, who emphasizes the importance of morality, self-discipline, and the betterment of society. Or perhaps it's someone like Albert Einstein, whose insights into the nature of the universe challenge the way we see everything around us. The beauty of studying one thinker is that their ideas can be distilled into practical lessons that can be applied in real time. It's not about memorizing quotes or philosophies. It's about learning to live according to principles that lead to a life of clarity, purpose, and impact. Think about the principles these thinkers lived by and how they translated those ideas into everyday actions. That's where the magic happens. When you take their ideas and put them into practice, you begin to see profound changes in your own life. You're not just learning how to think like them. You're learning how to act like them. You're aligning your mindset with a philosophy that has stood the test of time. But it's not enough to just study their ideas. You must apply them. It's easy to read a book, nod your head, and think, that makes sense. It's much harder to take that idea and actually live it out. But this is where the real growth happens. When you take one great thinker's wisdom and begin to integrate it into your daily life, you start to notice the transformation. You see the world through new eyes. You begin making decisions differently, not out of impulse, but out of deep understanding. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. His Stoic philosophy teaches us that we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. In the face of challenges, most people get swept up in emotions, anger, frustration, despair. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us to take a step back, to pause, and to choose our response wisely. When you apply this principle, you'll notice a shift in how you handle adversity. You stop reacting mindlessly, and you begin to respond with purpose. Instead of being a victim of circumstances, you become the master of your response. Or perhaps you study Aristotle's concept of virtue, where he argues that true happiness comes not from external success, but from cultivating inner qualities like courage, honesty, and wisdom. Instead of chasing after fleeting achievements or material success, you begin to focus on becoming a better person, a person of character and integrity. When you apply this principle, you stop looking for validation from the outside world and start seeking validation from within. Your happiness is no longer dependent on external factors. It comes from living a life of virtue, a life that is true to who you are and who you strive to be. Then there's Confucius, who emphasized the importance of moral conduct and respect for others. He understood that society is built on relationships, and that our relationships are a reflection of our character. When you study Confucius, you begin to appreciate the importance of respect, kindness, and discipline in your daily interactions. You stop seeing relationships as transactional and start seeing them as opportunities to serve and uplift others. By applying this principle, you become a person who builds others up, not one who tears them down. You become a force of good in the lives of those around you. And of course, there's the revolutionary thinker Albert Einstein, whose theories reshaped our understanding of the universe. Beyond his scientific genius, Einstein's philosophy was rooted in the power of imagination, curiosity, and a refusal to accept things at face value. When you adopt this mindset, you stop settling for the status quo. You begin to question everything, to challenge the norms, and to think beyond the obvious. You approach life with a childlike curiosity, always eager to explore new ideas, break new ground, and push the boundaries of what's possible. When you choose one thinker to study, you're choosing to align your life with the principles that have stood the test of time. But remember, studying isn't enough. The true power lies in application. You can read all the books, all the theories, all the philosophies, but if you don't apply them, they are nothing but words on a page. The application of knowledge is where the transformation happens. It's where you go from theory to action, from thought to change. So how do you apply their wisdom? Start small, pick one lesson, one idea, and focus on it for a week. If you're studying Marcus Aurelius and his teachings on controlling your emotions, make a conscious effort to pause before reacting in any situation. Practice responding with calmness and clarity. If you're studying Aristotle and the idea of virtue, focus on cultivating one virtue each day. Commit to acting with courage or practicing honesty in your daily life. The more you practice, the more it becomes second nature. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about making small shifts every single day until those shifts compound and create massive change. Over time, these shifts add up, and you begin to see a completely new version of yourself, a version who has adopted the wisdom of one of the greatest minds in history and applied it to their life in a way that produces real, tangible results. This journey is not about memorizing quotes or facts. It's about internalizing wisdom and using it as a compass to guide your actions, your decisions, and your mindset. It's about becoming the person you've always known you could be, but with the added strength of centuries of human wisdom backing you up. So I challenge you today, choose one great thinker. Dive deep into their teachings and apply one of their principles every single day. It's the beginning of a transformation that could change the course of your life forever. Because the wisdom of one great thinker, when fully understood and applied, has the power to reshape your mindset, your actions, and your future. As you walk this path, you will see how much you can achieve when you combine deep knowledge with consistent action. And as you grow, you'll realize that this is just the beginning. There's an entire world of great thinkers out there, each offering a new piece of the puzzle that will help you build the best version of yourself. So start today. Choose your thinker. Dive deep, apply what you learn, and watch your life change in ways you never thought possible. Because your journey to greatness starts with one simple decision: to study, to learn, and to act. Chapter 11. Practice what you learn so it becomes habit. You can learn all the wisdom in the world, fill your mind with knowledge, and study the most powerful techniques for success. But unless you make them a part of your daily routine, unless you practice them consistently, they will be nothing more than words. Real transformation comes not from knowing, but from doing. The difference between ordinary people and extraordinary people is not their knowledge, it's their ability to turn what they learn into lasting habits. This is the secret to mastering anything in life. It's not the big moments of inspiration that matter most, it's the small, consistent actions you take every single day. Imagine for a second, what if every lesson you've ever learned became automatic? What if the habits that you know would change your life were no longer something you had to remind yourself to do, but something that just happened naturally? That's the power of practice. When you make something a habit, it becomes effortless, second nature. The challenge isn't about learning, it's about embedding those lessons so deeply into your life that they drive your decisions, shape your actions, and guide your future. Let's break this down. You've probably heard this phrase before: the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But the flip side of that statement is just as true. The definition of personal growth is doing the right thing over and over again until it becomes second nature. It's not about learning more information, it's about transforming that information into tangible results. Every day is an opportunity to move closer to the person you want to become. But to get there, you need to practice, not just learn. When you first begin practicing something new, it feels awkward, it's unfamiliar. It feels like you're trying to force yourself into a new identity. The friction is real. But here's the key: every time you push through that discomfort, every time you practice, you're creating the neural pathways that will make this behavior automatic. This is how you build habits, by repeating the behavior consistently until it becomes a part of who you are. Imagine the impact it will have on your life. Every time you apply what you've learned, you are solidifying your growth, cementing your progress. You are, step by step, becoming the person you've always wanted to be. Let's take a simple example. Maybe you've learned the value of morning routines. You've read about how starting your day with purpose and intention can set the tone for everything else in your life. You understand the logic behind it. But knowing the value of a morning routine isn't enough. If you don't practice it, if you don't wake up early and begin with those first few powerful actions, you're never going to experience the benefits. At first you might stumble, you might forget, or you might feel tempted to press snooze. But with consistency, that routine will become automatic. Over time, it will be something you do without thinking. And when it becomes a habit, the positive effects will begin to compound. The power of habit is extraordinary. Imagine applying this to every area of your life: fitness, productivity, mindset, relationships. What if the habits that once seemed difficult and forced now happened without a second thought? You don't have to think twice about prioritizing your health because it's already ingrained. You don't have to struggle with procrastination because your work ethic is automatic. You don't have to remind yourself to be positive because you've practiced optimism until it became part of your default mindset. The possibilities are limitless when you practice what you learn until it becomes who you are. Here's the part most people miss. They learn, they grow, but they don't practice enough for it to stick. They get distracted by the next shiny new idea, jumping from one piece of advice to the next, without ever truly embedding the previous lesson into their lives. And that's why they never see lasting change. Knowledge is only valuable if you use it. So how do you make sure you're not just accumulating information, but actually transforming your life? You commit to the practice. You give yourself no choice but to make it a habit. But let's address a critical point here. You don't have to be perfect. Perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. It's about getting better every single day, even if it's just by a small margin. The key is consistency, not perfection. It's okay to miss a day or to slip up. What matters is that you get back on track. You practice with patience and persistence, knowing that every mistake is part of the process. It's a mistake to believe that progress happens all at once. The journey to mastery is a marathon, not a sprint. So what's the first step? Start small. Pick one lesson that you know can change your life and practice it every single day. If you're learning how to be more mindful, take a few minutes each morning to meditate or reflect. If you're focused on building your physical strength, commit to a workout every day, no matter how small. As you practice, you will improve. It will get easier, and over time that small action will snowball, and the positive results will begin to unfold. The more you practice, the more you reinforce the new neural pathways in your brain. And as your brain gets used to these habits, they become easier and easier to execute. Eventually, you won't even need to think about it. You'll just do it. You'll no longer have to force yourself to take action because it will have become part of your identity. This is the power of practice. It turns new skills, ideas, and habits into automatic responses. When you commit to this process, your life will begin to change. You will wake up one day and realize that the person you've always aspired to be is no longer a distant dream. They are standing in front of you, a living, breathing version of everything you've been working toward. Every habit you've built, every lesson you've applied, every practice you've ingrained into your routine will have come together to create the life you always desired. But remember, the process doesn't stop there. Mastery is a continuous journey. Once you've integrated one habit, it's time to level up. It's time to add new practices to your life, and that's how you keep growing. The more you practice, the more you unlock your potential. This is the true path to greatness, not in what you know, but in what you do. So I challenge you today, practice what you learn every single day. Build those habits, make them second nature. Don't just study success, live it. And over time, you'll look back and realize that every small step you took, every lesson you applied, has led you to a life beyond your wildest dreams. Because practice doesn't just make perfect, it makes transformation possible. Start now. Start today. Your future self is waiting for you on the other side of your daily habits. Chapter 12. Review your daily actions and improve your thinking. The difference between where you are right now and where you want to be is simply a matter of thinking differently. The way you perceive the world, the way you approach challenges, and most importantly, the way you think about your own actions has the power to either move you forward or keep you stuck. What if I told you that reviewing your daily actions and improving your thinking could be the one thing that unlocks the next level of your success? Think about your day. You wake up, go through your routines, handle responsibilities, and face a variety of challenges. But what if I asked you this? What's the deeper purpose behind your daily actions? What if you took a moment each day to look back, not just at what you did, but at why you did it? Imagine how much more effective you would be if you could intentionally improve your thinking every single day. This isn't just a small tweak. This is the difference between drifting through life and taking deliberate control of your destiny. Reviewing your actions daily and adjusting your thinking isn't just about reflection, it's about recalibration. It's about ensuring that your thoughts, actions, and habits are all aligned with your highest goals. This process, when done consistently, becomes the key to growth, progress, and ultimate success. We all get stuck in automatic patterns. We go through the motions, react to circumstances, and let our days slip by without consciously choosing our next move. But the truth is, every day is a chance to improve. Every day is a fresh opportunity to review, to adjust, and to improve our approach. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the ones who get everything right. They are the ones who review their actions regularly, find the flaws, and refine their thinking. They are constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly adapting. Here's the thing, we don't always realize it, but our actions are often driven by unconscious thought patterns. Maybe you wake up and immediately check your phone, scroll through social media, and let your mind get hijacked by distractions. Or maybe you go into your workday with a sense of stress and urgency, reacting to emails and messages, without taking time to set a clear, focused intention for the day. These habits feel automatic, but they're rooted in our thinking. If we don't consciously review and improve the way we think, we'll continue to fall into the same patterns that hold us back. But it doesn't have to be that way. By reviewing your daily actions, you create the space to change. It's like tuning a guitar. If you don't check the strings regularly, they'll go out of tune. But if you take a moment every day to tune them, your instrument will sound beautiful and harmonious. Your life is the same way. By reviewing your actions and improving your thinking, you can fine-tune your life for greater success, clarity, and happiness. Let me give you a real-world example. Have you ever had a day where you felt like you accomplished a lot, but at the end of it, you still felt unfulfilled? You ticked off the to-do list, but something didn't feel right. Maybe you were busy, but you weren't productive in the areas that truly matter. Maybe you spent hours working but didn't move the needle on your biggest goals. When you don't take the time to review your actions, it's easy to get lost in the busyness of life without actually progressing in the right direction. The solution is simple: take time to review. Start by reflecting on the actions you took throughout the day. Ask yourself, did my actions today move me closer to my goals? What did I do well? What could I have done differently? And most importantly, what does this teach me about the way I think? Here's where it gets really interesting. Every action you take is rooted in a thought. Every choice you make starts as a belief or assumption. By reviewing your daily actions, you have the opportunity to challenge those beliefs and assumptions. You can identify areas where your thinking may be limiting you, and you can make adjustments to think more strategically, more clearly, and more positively. For example, maybe you find that you procrastinated on an important task today. If you just beat yourself up over it and move on, you're missing an opportunity to improve. Instead, take a moment to reflect. Why did I procrastinate? Was it because I was afraid of failure? Was it because I didn't know where to start? Was it because I felt overwhelmed? By identifying the underlying thought pattern that led to the procrastination, you can reframe your thinking for the future. You can remind yourself that taking small steps forward is better than doing nothing at all, or that failure is simply a part of the learning process. When you challenge your thinking in this way, you're not just improving your actions, you're transforming your mindset. This practice of self-reflection and improvement is a daily ritual that will change your life. It's about developing self-awareness and using it as a tool for growth. When you make it a habit to review your actions and refine your thinking every day, you'll find that you make fewer mistakes, you become more efficient, and you develop greater clarity and confidence. The key is not to focus on perfection but on progress. Each day is a chance to grow, and by improving your thinking, you'll find that your actions naturally improve as well. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to continue reacting to life's challenges on autopilot, or do you want to take full control of your thoughts and actions, creating a life that aligns with your highest potential? The power is in your hands. By reviewing your daily actions and improving your thinking, you become the creator of your destiny. Every small adjustment you make compounds over time, leading to massive improvements in your life. And here's another powerful insight. This process of reflection isn't just about evaluating what went wrong. It's also about celebrating what went right. Recognizing your successes, even the small ones, reinforces positive behavior and strengthens your mindset. This is about building momentum, not just fixing mistakes. Every time you review your actions, you're reinforcing your commitment to growth, your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. And over time, this daily practice will yield results beyond what you can even imagine right now. In the beginning, it may feel uncomfortable. You may wonder if you're being too critical or too hard on yourself. But as you continue this practice, it will become second nature. You'll begin to see the results: more focused energy, more clarity, and more confidence. Your actions will align with your goals, and you'll start to experience exponential growth. You'll begin to see yourself as someone who doesn't just react to life, but someone who proactively shapes it. So, I challenge you today. Start reviewing your actions every single day. Take 5 or 10 minutes at the end of each day to reflect. Ask yourself, What did I do today that moved me forward? What could I improve? What did I learn? And most importantly, what thoughts led to my actions today? Use that reflection to shift your mindset, challenge your assumptions, and take action in a way that aligns with your highest goals. Because the truth is, when you improve your thinking, you change everything. Your actions, your decisions, your mindset, and your future, they all transform. Don't wait for life to change on its own. Take charge now. Review, reflect, and improve. Make it a habit, and watch as your life evolves in ways you never thought possible. Chapter 13. Follow mentors who teach through action and truth. The truth is simple. The best mentors don't just speak. They show. They don't just tell you how to live. They live it. They teach through action, and they speak the truth with every move they make. If you want to grow, if you want to evolve, then you need to follow mentors who are not just talking about success, but embodying it. They are the ones who lead by example, who offer guidance not through words alone, but through the powerful, undeniable force of their actions. Mentors are not there to tell you what you already know. If you're looking for someone who will confirm your beliefs, you're looking in the wrong direction. A true mentor will challenge you, push you to think bigger, and show you what it looks like to live with purpose. They don't just talk about dreams, they make them real. They don't just preach about hard work. They put in the hours, and when they speak, their words carry the weight of experience and truth, not just theory. But why does this matter? Why is it so crucial to follow mentors who teach through action and truth? Because you learn more by watching someone who walks the walk than by listening to someone who only talks the talk. Actions are the language of progress. Words are helpful, but they are secondary to what a mentor shows you through their own life. You see, a mentor who lives their truth doesn't just tell you about resilience, they demonstrate it. They don't tell you about the power of discipline. They show you the sweat, the sacrifice, and the focus that go into making discipline a reality. It's in the grind, it's in the struggles that they endure, and most importantly, it's in the results they produce. Take a moment to think about your life. The people you admire, the people who have had the most impact on you, were they the ones who gave you a lecture, or were they the ones whose actions inspired you? I'm willing to bet that the people who truly shaped your growth weren't just the ones with the best advice. They were the ones who lived out their values every single day. Their life itself was a lesson. Every choice they made, every challenge they overcame, was a powerful demonstration of the principles they were teaching. If you want to be successful, you have to pay attention to the mentors who lead with their actions. These are the mentors who don't just tell you that hard work pays off. They put in the hours, they sacrifice the easy road, and they show you that consistency over time is what leads to extraordinary results. These are the mentors who don't just tell you about success, they show you what it looks like when it's achieved, not just in terms of material wealth, but in terms of peace, fulfillment, and personal growth. True mentors don't just hand you answers, they challenge you to think for yourself. They show you that your greatest growth comes not from getting answers, but from learning to ask the right questions. When you follow a mentor who teaches through action, they don't just give you the blueprint, they show you how to build the house, brick by brick. They don't just talk about success, they help you map out your own path, and then encourage you to walk it, even when it's hard, even when it feels like there's no end in sight. It's easy to follow someone who tells you everything you want to hear. It's comfortable, it's reassuring. But that's not growth, that's stagnation. Growth happens when you challenge yourself to break free from your comfort zone And when you allow a mentor who teaches through action and truth to push you past the limits you thought you had, the mentors who challenge you the most are often the ones who care about you the most. They know that if they just tell you what you want to hear, they aren't doing you any favors. They know that growth happens through discomfort, through effort, and through persistence. They know that when they push you, it's because they see something in you that you may not see yet. And that's why following mentors who teach through action and truth is so powerful. These mentors don't let you settle for mediocrity. They don't let you off the hook when you're slacking off. They don't tolerate excuses. But at the same time, they don't judge. They inspire. They motivate. They lead by example. They're the kind of mentors who will show up every single day, rain or shine, and they'll give you the same unwavering commitment to success that they expect from you. But this goes beyond mentorship in the traditional sense. The truth is, we all have mentors whether we realize it or not. Every time you watch a video, read a book, listen to a podcast, or engage with someone online, you're being mentored. The question is, are you learning from those who are teaching through action and truth, or are you simply consuming empty words? Words without action are meaningless. Words with action become the foundation of your transformation. Think about the leaders who have made an impact on the world. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just talk about equality, he lived it. He put his life on the line for his beliefs, and through his actions, he taught millions about the power of integrity and commitment. Steve Jobs didn't just talk about innovation, he created it, and through his work he showed the world what it means to think differently. These people didn't just give speeches, they lived their messages, and in doing so they left behind legacies that continue to inspire us today. So how can you apply this principle to your own life? How do you start seeking out mentors who teach through action and truth? First, you need to stop idolizing people who only talk about success without demonstrating it. It's easy to get caught up in the hype of social media or self-help gurus who promise the world but aren't actually living the lives they preach. Real mentors don't need to sell you a dream. They're too busy living it. They don't make excuses. They get things done. They take action, and they invite you to join them on their journey. Second, start seeking out mentors whose actions align with your values and goals. It's not enough to simply follow someone because they have a large following or a catchy slogan. True mentorship comes from people who are already walking the path you want to walk, not just talking about it. These are the mentors who will show you that success isn't an accident. It's the result of consistent, deliberate effort over time. And lastly, remember this: if you want to become the best version of yourself, you need to be willing to take action. A mentor can guide you, but it's up to you to do the work. Don't wait for someone else to change your life. Start taking action now, and follow those who are showing you the way, not just telling you about it. When you commit to following mentors who teach through action and truth, you're not just learning from them, you're growing with them. You're becoming part of the journey, and through their guidance, you're creating your own legacy of greatness. Don't wait for someone else to give you permission to succeed. Take charge, follow the right mentors, and let their actions be the blueprint for your own success. The path to greatness is laid out by those who have walked it before you. So follow them, not just with your eyes, but with your heart, your mind, and your actions. The best is yet to come. Chapter 14. Learn from failure and turn pain into power. There's power in pain, and if you've ever felt it, you already know what I mean. The kind of pain that burns deep in your chest and lingers like a shadow. The type of failure that makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. We all face it at some point. It's inevitable. But here's the truth. Pain doesn't have to break you. It can make you stronger, sharper, and more resilient than you've ever been before. It can turn you into someone who has learned from their mistakes, who refuses to stay down when life knocks them down. Pain is power, if you choose to see it that way. Let's be real. No one likes to fail. We live in a world where success is often glorified, where people talk about winning like it's the only thing that matters. But what happens when you fail? What happens when the road you've chosen gets harder than you expected, and you're left feeling like everything is falling apart? In those moments, it's easy to give in to self-doubt, to quit, or to hide away. But if you want to grow, if you want to achieve anything meaningful, then you need to learn how to turn that failure into fuel. You need to take the pain and transform it into power that drives you forward. What's fascinating is that failure is a universal experience. No one is immune. Every great leader, every successful entrepreneur, every champion athlete, they've all failed. What sets them apart is what they do after they fail. Do they wallow in self-pity, or do they rise from the ashes and come back stronger? The most successful people in the world have figured out one simple yet profound truth. Failure isn't a dead end, it's a detour that can take you to places you never thought possible. But to get there, you have to stop seeing failure as the end. You have to change your mindset. Failure is a lesson, not a punishment. The pain you feel when things go wrong, it's not a signal to quit, it's a signal to learn. The pain is telling you something. It's showing you what doesn't work, what needs to change, and where you need to grow. It's a teacher. It's uncomfortable, it's difficult, and it's raw, but it's also the very thing that will propel you to the next level if you let it. One of the biggest mistakes people make after they fail is they see it as a reflection of their worth. They internalize the pain and make it about who they are, rather than about the circumstances. I failed, therefore I am a failure, they say. But that's not true. Your failure is not your identity. It's just a temporary setback, a necessary part of the journey. It doesn't define you unless you let it. So stop giving failure the power to determine your future. Instead, use it as a tool to grow stronger, wiser, and more determined. Think about the most successful people you admire. They didn't get where they are by avoiding failure. They got there because they were willing to face it head-on. They embraced it, learned from it, and used it to fuel their next attempt. They didn't give up when things got tough. They doubled down and kept going. And they didn't do it alone. They found mentors, they sought out feedback, and they surrounded themselves with people who would help them grow. They turned their pain into power by using it as motivation to push harder. But here's the catch. It's not enough to just go through the motions. You have to change your perspective on failure itself. You have to stop seeing it as something to avoid and start seeing it as an essential part of your growth. When you do this, something incredible happens. You stop fearing failure. You stop letting it control you. Instead of avoiding the challenges that could lead to failure, you start seeking them out, knowing that with each failure, you're getting closer to success. You're getting closer to the person you're meant to be. Now let's talk about the process of turning pain into power. How do you actually do this? The first step is acknowledging that the pain is real. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't pretend it doesn't hurt. Failure can be brutal. It can leave you feeling exposed and vulnerable. But you have to embrace that pain. Don't run from it. Lean into it. The sooner you accept it, the sooner you can move past it and learn from it. Once you've accepted the pain, the next step is to reflect. Ask yourself what went wrong. Why did things not work out the way you planned? What can you learn from this experience? Every failure has a lesson buried inside it, and the key to turning pain into power is to extract that lesson. Look for the truth in the situation. Be honest with yourself. Maybe you didn't prepare enough. Maybe you didn't stay disciplined. Maybe you were too quick to make decisions without thinking them through. Whatever the lesson is, don't be afraid to face it. It's in that brutal honesty with yourself that you'll find the strength to move forward. After reflection, the next step is to take action. This is where most people get stuck. It's easy to reflect and make plans, but the real power comes from taking that reflection and turning it into action. You have to apply what you've learned. You have to adjust your strategy, change your approach, and keep moving forward with new insight. Pain only becomes power when you use it to make better decisions, to act with more focus, and to push through obstacles with even more determination. But the journey doesn't end there. The next step in turning pain into power is resilience. You have to keep going, even when it gets hard. You have to keep showing up, even when it feels like nothing is working. Resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. It's the ability to keep moving forward, even when the world feels like it's against you. Every time you get back up after a fall, you get stronger. Every time you face failure and keep going, you build resilience. Here's the truth. Failure is never the end, unless you let it be. If you can learn from it, if you can take the pain and turn it into something powerful, then failure becomes just a stepping stone on your path to greatness. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail the most and keep going. They embrace their mistakes, learn from them, and use them to fuel their next victory. They understand that failure isn't something to be feared, it's something to be celebrated, because it's a sign that you're on the right path. It means you're growing. It means you're pushing yourself beyond your limits. So what are you going to do with your pain? Will you let it break you, or will you turn it into the fuel that powers your next level of success? The choice is yours. But remember this, pain is not your enemy. It's your ally. It's the force that will push you to become the person you were always meant to be. And when you finally rise from the ashes, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever, you'll look back and realize that the greatest power you've ever had was born from the very thing that tried to take you down. Now go out and make it happen. Your power is waiting for you. Chapter 15. Teach others what you learn to master it faster. The fastest way to master something is to teach it. I know it sounds counterintuitive at first, but think about it. The moment you start teaching someone else, you begin to truly understand the subject yourself. It's like the universe's little secret. When you explain something to another person, you force yourself to grasp the concepts at a deeper level. You stop skimming the surface, and you start diving into the core of what you're learning. In a way, teaching isn't just about helping others, it's about transforming yourself. If you want to level up faster than you ever thought possible, teach others what you learn. It's the ultimate tool for accelerating growth. We often think we need to have everything figured out before we can share our knowledge, but that's a myth. You don't have to be an expert to teach. In fact, it's when you're still learning that the process of teaching is most powerful. You teach what you know, and in turn you discover what you don't know. The gaps in your knowledge become glaringly obvious, and that's where the real growth happens. You become more engaged in the process. You start asking deeper questions, and most importantly, you become more accountable. When you teach, You can't hide from the truth. You have to show up. You have to deliver. And by doing that, you sharpen your own skills in ways that passive learning never could. Teaching others forces you to simplify complex ideas. We often get caught up in jargon and overcomplicated explanations, but when you have to break things down for someone else, it forces you to communicate clearly. It helps you focus on the essentials. It encourages you to reframe your knowledge in ways that others can understand, and in the process, you gain a deeper, more practical understanding of the material yourself. This simplicity in communication is key to mastering anything. If you can't explain something clearly, you don't truly understand it. But the moment you break it down into bite-sized pieces, you've just unlocked mastery. The power of teaching goes beyond simply solidifying what you know. It shifts your mindset entirely. You stop seeing learning as a solitary journey. Instead, it becomes a shared experience. When you teach, you connect with others in a meaningful way. You create a space where both you and your student are learning, growing, and evolving. There's a synergy that happens in teaching that accelerates the learning process for both parties. As you teach, you learn to listen better, ask the right questions, and stay open to new ideas. You're not just transferring knowledge, you're fostering an environment where growth is continuous. The value of teaching is amplified when you teach what you're passionate about. Passion is contagious. When you speak with enthusiasm and conviction, you inspire those around you. They become more engaged, more eager to learn, and more motivated to take action. But here's the kicker. The more you teach, the more passionate you become. Teaching reinforces your commitment to what you're learning, and that passion spreads like wildfire. Your enthusiasm becomes a mirror, reflecting back onto you and reigniting your own drive to push further and master more. But teaching isn't just about sharing knowledge, it's about providing value. When you teach, you must constantly ask yourself, what does this person need to know? How can I make this information practical for them? The focus shifts from what you know to how you can serve others with your knowledge. This shift from selfish consumption to selfless contribution changes everything. It forces you to think critically about the material and how it can be applied in real-world situations. It challenges you to view learning from a new perspective, one that's centered on growth and service rather than just accumulation. And the beauty of teaching is that it doesn't have to be in a classroom or a formal setting. You can teach in countless ways, in conversations with friends, in online discussions, in videos, in blogs, or even through social media posts. Every time you share your knowledge, you reinforce it within yourself. Every time you articulate what you've learned, you turn that information into something actionable, something you can apply to your own life. The more you teach, the more confident you become in your own abilities, and that confidence propels you forward. Teaching also teaches you patience. When you explain a concept to someone for the first time and they don't quite get it, it forces you to slow down, to rephrase, and to approach the topic from different angles. You learn to approach challenges with persistence and resilience, not expecting instant results but being willing to invest the time it takes for mastery. This patience is essential to mastering any skill. You learn to embrace the process instead of rushing toward the outcome. Teaching humbles you, reminding you that mastery takes time, that you're not going to have all the answers right away, and that the journey is just as important as the destination. By teaching, you also solidify your position as a leader. People are drawn to those who are not only knowledgeable, but also generous with their knowledge. When you take the time to teach others, you demonstrate qualities of leadership, compassion, communication, and the ability to inspire others to take action. You become a guide, a mentor, someone others look up to and seek wisdom from. And in the process, you grow as a leader. You learn what it takes to communicate effectively, to motivate and to influence others positively. Leadership isn't about telling people what to do. It's about showing them how to do it by being an example. Now let's talk about accountability. When you teach others, you become accountable, not just to them but to yourself. You set an example. You can't teach something if you're not practicing what you preach. This sense of accountability is a powerful motivator. When you know others are watching, learning from you and potentially emulating you, you feel an increased sense of responsibility to stay on track, to continue learning and to grow. You're not just doing it for yourself anymore. You're doing it for the people who look up to you. The more you teach, the more you refine your understanding. You start to see things in a new light. As you explain something to someone else, your mind starts to make new connections, to see patterns that you hadn't noticed before. You start to think critically, to challenge assumptions, and to question what you know. It's through teaching that you often uncover deeper insights, uncovering things you never even considered when you were simply learning for yourself. But the most profound shift comes when you realize that teaching is not a one-way street. It's a two-way exchange. As much as you're teaching others, they're teaching you. The questions they ask, the insights they bring, the feedback they offer, they all contribute to your own understanding. The process becomes a cycle of mutual growth. It's not just about you imparting wisdom, it's about creating a space where everyone learns, everyone grows, and everyone evolves. So if you're serious about mastering anything, whether it's a skill, a mindset, or a philosophy, teach others what you learn. Share your knowledge. Don't wait until you have it all figured out. Start where you are and teach what you know. It's in the teaching that you'll find your true mastery, because it forces you to confront what you know, to solidify your understanding, and to grow faster than you ever thought possible. Teaching isn't just about giving, it's about receiving too. It's the ultimate tool for growth, both for you and for those around you. The more you teach, the more you learn, and the more you grow. So teach with passion, teach with clarity, teach with conviction, because the more you teach, the faster you'll master what you're learning, and the more profound your transformation will be. Go ahead, start teaching, and watch how quickly you rise to new heights. The power is in your hands. Chapter 16. Eliminate distractions that block your daily learning. Imagine waking up every day with a clear vision of what you want to achieve, a plan in place, and a relentless focus that can't be broken. Sounds powerful, doesn't it? But let me ask you, how often do you let distractions take that vision away from you? How many times have you set out with the best intentions, only to find yourself scrolling on your phone or watching random videos, wasting hours of precious time? What if you could eliminate all the distractions that are blocking your ability to learn and grow? What would your life look like if you had uninterrupted focus every single day? The truth is, distractions are the silent killers of progress. They creep in when you're least expecting it, pulling you away from your purpose and slowly draining your energy. They keep you in a loop of incomplete tasks, wasted potential, and half-hearted effort. We've all been there. We start the day motivated, but by the time we look up, the hours have slipped away, and we wonder where the time went. And the worst part, we wonder why we aren't getting closer to our goals. The answer is simple: distractions. They are the thief of time, and if you let them, they will rob you of everything you could accomplish. Now, imagine taking control. Imagine developing the kind of focus where distractions simply don't stand a chance. where your goals are no longer just dreams, but tangible results that you create every single day. When you eliminate distractions, you unlock your true potential. Your learning becomes faster, your growth becomes unstoppable, and you step into a world of limitless possibility. The first step is understanding how distractions work. Distractions don't just come from external sources, they also come from within. The mind has a natural tendency to wander. Thoughts can spiral into worries about the future or regrets about the past. We let ourselves get caught up in all these mental tangents, and before we know it, we've wasted valuable time. But here's the kicker: these internal distractions are just as dangerous as external ones, and the key to eliminating them is awareness. Once you recognize when your mind starts to wander, you can bring it back to the task at hand. It's like a muscle you need to train. The more you practice, the stronger your focus becomes. External distractions are often easier to pinpoint, but that doesn't make them any less dangerous. Your phone is the perfect example. It's a powerful tool, no doubt, but it's also a major distraction. The constant pinging of notifications, the endless stream of social media posts, the YouTube videos that seem to have no end, all of these are designed to capture your attention and pull you away from what truly matters. If you don't set boundaries, they will dominate your time. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb mode, or turn off unnecessary notifications. Set a time limit for social media use, and stick to it. Start with small changes, things you can control right now, and gradually you'll build habits that make distractions less of a temptation. Another common source of distraction is the environment you work in. If you're working in a space that's messy or cluttered, your mind will mirror that chaos. A disorganized workspace can overwhelm you and create mental clutter. So the first step in eliminating distractions is to create a space that supports your learning and focus. Clear your desk. Organize your materials. Make sure everything you need for the task at hand is within reach. A clean environment doesn't just look better, it helps your mind stay clear and focused. But it's not just about the physical space. It's also about the people around you. Do you have friends or colleagues who constantly interrupt you? Are you surrounded by people who distract you with gossip or irrelevant conversations? If so, it's time to set boundaries. Let people know when you need focused time, and stick to it. Don't be afraid to say no when someone tries to pull you away from your goals. Your time is your most valuable asset. Guard it fiercely. There's a powerful technique that I recommend for combating distractions: time blocking. Time blocking is the practice of scheduling specific blocks of time for focused work, learning, or other important tasks. During these blocks, you commit to working without interruption. No phone, no emails, no checking social media, just focused, uninterrupted work. This technique works wonders because it creates a sense of urgency and accountability. When you know you only have a limited amount of time to complete a task, your focus sharpens and you get more done in less time. Start small. Begin with 25-minute work sessions, followed by a 5-minute break. As you build your focus, you can increase the length of the sessions. Another powerful strategy is to eliminate decision fatigue. Every time you make a decision, your mental energy is depleted, and the more decisions you have to make throughout the day, the harder it becomes to stay focused. That's why successful people often have routines. They eliminate the need to make decisions about what to wear, what to eat, or what to do next. By creating a routine, you free up mental space for the things that matter most. Plan your day the night before. Know exactly what you'll be working on and when. This reduces the chances of getting distracted by trivial decisions that don't contribute to your learning or growth. One of the most insidious distractions, however, is the habit of procrastination. We've all experienced it. We know what we need to do, but somehow we avoid it. Procrastination is often fueled by fear, fear of failure, fear of failure, fear of not being perfect, fear of not being good enough. It's a form of self-sabotage that holds us back from reaching our true potential. The key to overcoming procrastination is to break tasks down into smaller, more manageable steps. When you're faced with a big project, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and distracted. But if you break it into smaller chunks, you'll find that it's much easier to get started. And once you begin, the momentum will carry you forward. You see, distractions are not just things outside of you. They're habits, patterns of thought, and emotional triggers that keep you stuck. To eliminate them, you need to change your relationship with distractions. Instead of fighting them, learn to identify them and gently steer your focus back to the task at hand. Be kind to yourself when your mind wanders. Understand that it's part of the process, but don't let it take control. The more you practice returning your focus to the task at hand, the stronger your ability to block out distractions will become. In the end, the power to eliminate distractions lies within you. It's about creating a mindset and environment that supports your growth. It's about recognizing when distractions are pulling you away from what matters most and taking action to refocus. The more you eliminate distractions, the more room you create for learning, growth, and transformation. And that's where the magic happens. You'll find that the less time you waste, the more time you have to learn, to grow, and to achieve your dreams. So make today the day you decide to take control of your focus. Start small, eliminate the distractions that are blocking your learning, and watch how quickly your progress accelerates. The time to take action is now. Your future self will thank you. Chapter 17. Use quiet time each day to study your mind. There's a moment each day when the world goes quiet, when everything slows down and the noise fades into the background. It's in these moments of silence that the most profound transformations happen. But most people miss it. They rush through their days, overwhelmed by the chaos of their thoughts, the constant bombardment of distractions, and the never-ending demands of the world around them. Yet, what if I told you that this quiet time, the time most people overlook, holds the key to unlocking your fullest potential? Every day you have the opportunity to study your mind, to dive deep into your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. In the stillness, you have a chance to uncover truths about yourself that you might never have seen before. But it takes focus, it takes intentionality, and it requires that you learn to be comfortable with the silence. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life. Everyone has a to-do list, 1,000 things demanding attention. But without quiet time, without taking a moment to simply pause and listen to your inner voice, you're missing the most important tool for growth you'll ever have: self-awareness. When you study your mind, you start to understand how you think, what motivates you, and what holds you back. You begin to see the patterns that have shaped your behavior, patterns that have either served you or kept you stuck. In this quiet time, you can separate your true desires from the noise of the world. You can identify the fears that have been limiting you and the doubts that have been keeping you from taking action. Many people shy away from this quiet time because they are afraid of what they might find. They fear confronting the parts of themselves they've been avoiding. But it's in that confrontation that the real growth happens. When you can face your thoughts without judgment, when you can sit with your discomfort and examine it without running away, you unlock the door to self-mastery. The mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be your greatest enemy if left unchecked. When your thoughts are left to roam freely, without direction, they can spiral into negativity, self-doubt, and fear. This is where most people get lost. They allow their minds to control them instead of taking control of their minds. They let their emotions dictate their actions rather than responding with calm, clarity, and intention. This is why quiet time is essential. In the silence, you regain control. You reclaim your ability to choose your thoughts. You get to decide which thoughts to entertain and which ones to dismiss. And the more time you spend in this space of stillness, the better you become at recognizing which thoughts are serving you and which ones are simply noise. But how do you begin? How do you create this space of quiet time for yourself in the middle of a busy life? The answer is simpler than you might think. You carve it out. You make it a non-negotiable part of your day. Whether it's early in the morning, before the world wakes up, or late at night when the house is still, you set aside time to sit in silence with yourself. This is your time to reflect, to meditate, to journal, or simply to listen to the thoughts in your mind. When you first start, it might feel uncomfortable. The mind is not used to silence, and it will likely protest. It will bring up worries, anxieties, and distractions. But don't be discouraged. This is part of the process. Every thought that arises is an opportunity to learn something new about yourself. When a negative thought appears, simply acknowledge it, then let it go. You don't have to engage with it. You don't have to follow it down the rabbit hole. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to separate your true self from the clutter of your thoughts. As you get more comfortable with quiet time, you'll begin to notice patterns in your thinking. You'll see the areas where you're holding yourself back and the limiting beliefs that have been driving your actions. Maybe you've been telling yourself that you're not good enough, or that success is for other people, not for you. Maybe you've been doubting your abilities or playing small because of fear. But when you spend time studying your mind, you can start to unravel these thoughts. You can challenge them, question them, and replace them with more empowering beliefs. Self-awareness is the foundation of all growth. Without it, you're simply reacting to life, letting the circumstances around you dictate your actions. But with awareness, you take back your power. You begin to live with intention. You make choices that align with your values and your goals, rather than being pulled in every direction by external influences. The beauty of quiet time is that it doesn't have to be long to be effective. Even just 10 minutes a day can have a profound impact. You don't need to sit in complete silence for hours. What matters is that you show up consistently, that you commit to taking this time for yourself every single day. Over time, those 10 minutes will add up, and before you know it, you'll begin to see the fruits of this practice in your life. But this is not just about sitting in silence. It's also about asking yourself the right questions. Use your quiet time to reflect on your goals, your dreams, and your challenges. What are the things that are holding you back? What do you need to let go of? What can you do today to move closer to the person you want to become? Write down your thoughts. Create a dialogue with yourself. This process of self-inquiry is powerful because it allows you to identify the root cause of your challenges and to gain clarity on the best path forward. The more you study your mind, the more you will begin to understand your true desires. You'll see where your actions align with your goals and where they don't. And as you start to make small shifts in your thinking, you'll notice that your actions begin to follow. The key is consistency. It's easy to fall into old patterns of thinking, but when you make quiet time a daily habit, you begin to rewire your mind. You reprogram it to focus on what's important, to let go of the distractions, and to tune into your true purpose. The impact of studying your mind is not just internal, it radiates outward. When you have a clear understanding of your thoughts and emotions, you become more confident, more centered, and more grounded. You make decisions with ease because you know what's important to you. You handle challenges with grace because you've learned to control your responses. You create a life that is aligned with your deepest values. In the end, quiet time isn't just about sitting in silence. It's about creating the space to connect with yourself, to understand your mind, and to unlock your full potential. It's about reclaiming control over your thoughts and emotions so that you can take intentional, focused action toward your goals. The more you practice this, the more you will see the transformation in your life. The power to change, to grow, and to become the person you've always wanted to be is already within you. All you have to do is create the space to tap into it. So today, make the decision to start carving out quiet time for yourself. It doesn't matter how small the time is, it matters that you make it a habit. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. When you learn to understand it, when you study it every day, you unlock the door to a life of unlimited potential. Chapter 18. Set daily learning goals that stretch your thinking. You are capable of so much more than you think. Right now, there's a version of you that is just waiting to emerge, a version that is stronger, wiser, and more focused. But it's only going to happen if you stretch yourself, push beyond your current limitations, and challenge your thinking every single day. This is not about comfort, this is about growth, and growth requires discomfort. Think about it. When was the last time you truly felt challenged by something you were learning? When did you last set a goal that forced you to think in ways you've never thought before? If you can't answer that, you're missing out on one of the most powerful tools for personal development that exists, the practice of setting daily learning goals that stretch your thinking. You see, we are all capable of so much more than we allow ourselves to believe. But to unlock that potential, you have to break through the mental barriers that have been holding you back. Most people live in a comfort zone, thinking that what they already know is enough. They go through life sticking to what's familiar, what's easy. But if you want to change your life, if you want to truly grow, you must challenge yourself daily. And the best way to do that is by setting learning goals that push your boundaries, stretch your thinking, and force you to evolve. Every single day you have the opportunity to challenge your mind. You have the power to set goals that will stretch your thinking and help you break free from the limits that have been holding you back. The problem is, too many people don't know how to set these goals, or they don't take the time to truly make them a priority. They set vague goals like, I want to learn something new today, but there's no structure, no urgency, and no real challenge in that. It's just a half-hearted attempt at self-improvement. What you need are daily learning goals that force you to think bigger, to question everything, and to push yourself into uncharted territory. When you set goals that stretch your thinking, you're no longer stuck in a cycle of repetition. You're actively seeking growth, and growth only happens when you challenge your limits. Let's take a moment to really think about what this means. We all have areas in our lives where we feel stuck. Maybe it's in your career, in your relationships, or in your personal growth. You may feel like you're doing everything you can, but you're not getting the results you want. The reason for this is simple. You've stopped stretching your thinking. You've settled into a pattern, and your brain is operating on autopilot. And as long as that autopilot is running, you'll never break free from the cycle. Setting daily learning goals forces you to shake things up. It forces you to disrupt your normal patterns and challenge your assumptions. The best part, you don't need to make huge leaps every day. Small intentional steps are enough to start the process. It's about doing something every single day that stretches your mind. Whether it's reading a new book, learning a new skill, or engaging in deep, meaningful self-reflection, the key is to push yourself to think in new ways. One of the most powerful things about setting daily learning goals is that they force you to be intentional about your growth. Most people simply go through the motions of life without thinking about what they're learning. They don't actively seek out new knowledge or ways to improve. But when you set a daily goal to stretch your thinking, you're actively taking control of your growth. You're telling your mind, today I will learn something that challenges me, something that will make me better. This practice has a ripple effect. The more you stretch your thinking, the more your mind becomes accustomed to it. You begin to see opportunities for growth everywhere. You'll find yourself questioning your assumptions, thinking more critically, and seeking out new perspectives. You'll stop settling for mediocrity because you'll know there's more to life than what you've already experienced. Every day becomes an opportunity to grow, to expand your horizons, and to push yourself to be better than you were yesterday. But let's get specific. How do you set daily learning goals that truly stretch your thinking? The first step is to identify areas in your life where you feel stagnant or stuck. These are the areas that need the most attention. Ask yourself, what do I need to learn to break through in this area? What knowledge or skills do I need to acquire to move forward? This is your starting point. Next, set a specific goal for the day. Don't make it vague. Don't say, I want to learn something new today. That's not a goal, it's a wish. Instead say, today I will learn about time management techniques and implement one new strategy into my routine. Or today, I will read 20 pages of a book that challenges my current thinking. The more specific you can get, the better. But here's the key. These goals should stretch you. They should push you beyond what you already know. Don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. If you already know a little bit about a topic, aim to go deeper. If you're learning a new skill, push yourself to master it faster. If you're reading a book, don't just skim the surface. Dive in and apply what you're learning to your life. And don't just stop at one goal. Set multiple learning goals for the day. The more you can challenge yourself, the faster you'll grow. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The same goes for your mind. The more you stretch it, the more capable it becomes of handling new challenges. As you continue this practice, you'll begin to notice something incredible happening. Your thinking will start to expand. You'll develop a greater sense of clarity about what you want in life and how to get there. You'll become more confident in your ability to learn and grow. And most importantly, you'll develop the habit of pushing your limits every single day. This habit will serve you for the rest of your life. Think about it. If you make it a non-negotiable part of your day to stretch your thinking, where could you be in a year, 2 years, 5 years? Imagine the transformation you would undergo if you made it a habit to learn something that challenged you every day. The growth would be exponential. Your mind would no longer be limited by the beliefs and assumptions that have held you back. You would be operating at a higher level, capable of achieving things that once seemed impossible. This is the power of daily learning goals. This is the key to unlocking your potential. But it all starts with the decision to stretch your thinking. It starts with the decision to push yourself beyond your current limits and commit to a daily practice of growth. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Start now. Set your goals, take action, and keep moving forward. Your future self will thank you. Chapter 19. Challenge your beliefs and update your mental software. You've been living with these beliefs for years. Some of them may have served you in the past, but many are holding you back right now. Do you ever feel stuck? Like no matter what you do, you can't move forward? Maybe it's because your mindset is running outdated software. It's time to stop letting old beliefs control your life and start challenging them. The moment you decide to confront your beliefs and update your mental software is the moment you gain freedom. Let me tell you, this is where real transformation begins. We all have beliefs we've picked up over the years. Some came from our family, our culture, our experiences, or even things we've heard over and over. But what if I told you that many of these beliefs are limiting? What if I told you that right now you are living based on assumptions that no longer serve you, and by simply updating your beliefs, you could change the trajectory of your life forever? Look around you. Think about the most successful people you know. They didn't get to where they are by holding on to outdated beliefs. No, they challenged their beliefs, updated their mental software, and transformed their lives. And you can do the same. But it all starts with questioning everything you've ever thought you knew. What's the first step? It's about looking at your current mindset and realizing that it's not permanent. Your beliefs are not truths. They are simply perceptions. Perceptions that you've adopted over time, many of which are based on fear, comfort, and past failures. But none of those perceptions have to be your reality. You can rewrite your mental programming, and the first part of rewriting is challenging what you've been taught, what you've accepted as truth, and what you've been told is possible for you. Think about a time in your life when you succeeded. Maybe it was a big moment, or maybe it was something small. Reflect on it now. How did you get there? What mindset did you have at the time? Now think about a time when you failed. What beliefs did you have at that moment? There's a pattern there. Your success wasn't just about your actions. It was about your belief that success was possible. Your failure wasn't just a result of poor execution. It was because your beliefs about what you could or couldn't achieve limited your actions. Beliefs shape our reality. They shape how we view ourselves, how we view the world, and how we respond to opportunities and challenges. If you believe that you are destined for failure, your actions will align with that belief. If you believe that success is impossible for you, your efforts will never reach their full potential. But what happens when you challenge that belief? What happens when you start thinking bigger, thinking better, and updating your beliefs to align with the person you are becoming, not the person you once were? The hardest part about this is letting go of the comfort of your current beliefs. It's easier to stay with what you know, even if it's limiting, because the unknown feels uncomfortable. But growth never happens in the comfort zone. Your belief systems are the first thing to challenge because they are the filters through which you experience everything in life. So if you want to experience a different level of success, a different level of abundance, and a different level of freedom, you have to challenge your beliefs, update your mental software, and reprogram your mindset for greatness. Now you might be thinking, but how do I even begin to challenge my beliefs? How do I know what's true and what's holding me back? It starts by asking the right questions. Look at your current life, the results you're getting, and ask yourself, what belief is behind this? What thought process led me here? Was it a belief in scarcity? A belief that you don't deserve more? A belief that your past failures define you? Once you identify the belief that's limiting your progress, the next step is to question it. Is that belief really true? Is it something you chose to believe, or is it something you've absorbed from others? Is it a belief that still serves you, or is it time for a new belief? If your current belief is holding you back, what would the opposite belief look like? What if you believe the opposite of what you've always known? The next step is to take action based on that new belief. If you believe that you are worthy of success, what would you do differently? If you believe that every failure was just a stepping stone to success, how would you approach challenges? Start living based on the new belief, and watch how your life begins to shift. Your actions will change, your mindset will change, and the results will follow. This isn't just about changing your beliefs intellectually. This is about living the new belief every single day. When you truly challenge your beliefs and embrace new, empowering ones, you begin to see opportunities that were previously invisible to you. You become the person who attracts success because you're no longer limited by self-imposed barriers. You see, beliefs aren't just thoughts, they are the framework for your actions. When your beliefs align with the success you want, your actions will naturally follow. One of the most powerful things you can do for your personal growth is to seek out new perspectives. Surround yourself with people who challenge your beliefs, who inspire you to think differently. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch videos that open your mind and expand your thinking. The more diverse perspectives you expose yourself to, the more you'll realize that there are infinite possibilities available to you. Your current beliefs are just one narrow path. There are hundreds of other paths that lead to success, fulfillment, and greatness. But you'll never find them unless you start questioning what you've always believed. And here's the thing, changing your beliefs isn't easy. It's not a one-time thing, it's a continuous process. The mind is powerful, and old beliefs don't die overnight. But that's the beauty of it. Every time you challenge a limiting belief, you make space for something new, something more empowering. Every time you ask yourself whether what you believe is true, you create room for growth. And as you continue to grow, your results will reflect that growth. So what do you do now? You start. Right now, you take the first step by questioning one belief that's been holding you back. It could be something small, like the belief that you don't have time to learn something new, or it could be something big, like the belief that you're not worthy of success. But whatever it is, start there. Ask yourself, is this belief serving me? Is it empowering me to be the best version of myself? And if it's not, then choose a new belief. Choose a belief that empowers you. Choose a belief that propels you toward greatness. It's time to update your mental software. It's time to break free from the chains of old beliefs and step into a new version of yourself, one that is capable of anything. The moment you challenge your beliefs is the moment you take control of your life. The moment you decide that you're no longer bound by outdated software is the moment everything changes. Challenge your beliefs. Update your mental software. And watch as you unlock your true potential. The power to change is within you, and it's all in your mind. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the belief that you can't get there. And I'm telling you now, you can. Chapter 20. Stay hungry for knowledge that sharpens your focus. What if I told you that the difference between where you are now and where you want to be isn't more effort, more hustle, or more time? It's hunger. The hunger to learn, to grow, to sharpen your focus on the one thing that truly matters. Knowledge. Not just any knowledge, but knowledge that elevates you, that refines your thinking, that hones your focus like a blade, cutting through the noise of the world. When you stay hungry for knowledge, everything else falls into place. How many times have you found yourself distracted, overwhelmed, or lacking direction? How many times have you sat down, determined to be productive, only to find your mind wandering, your attention split in 1,000 different directions? The root of all this lies in your focus, and the most powerful tool you have to sharpen that focus is knowledge. But not just any knowledge. You need knowledge that challenges you, stretches you, and sharpens the edge of your mind. You need the kind of knowledge that lights a fire in your belly and forces you to confront the uncomfortable truths about who you are and what you're capable of. This isn't about filling your head with facts and figures. This is about feeding your mind with ideas that expand your horizons. This is about learning things that force you to think critically, to question everything you've believed, to see the world from a new perspective. Because, here's the truth, if your knowledge doesn't challenge your thinking, it isn't worth having. If the things you learn don't push you to grow, they're just distractions, and distractions are the enemy of focus. The world is filled with distractions. Every second, you're bombarded with information, opinions, and stimuli that pull you in 100 different directions. But what if you could block out all the noise? What if, instead of giving in to distractions, you actively sought out knowledge that sharpened your focus, that gave you a sense of clarity and purpose? Imagine how much more productive you would be. Imagine how much more in control you would feel. You wouldn't just be going through the motions, you'd be living with intention, with laser-like focus on what truly matters. But to get there, you have to stay hungry for knowledge. And that hunger must be insatiable. This is a mindset shift, a shift from consuming knowledge passively to seeking it out actively, with purpose. Every day you should be on the lookout for something that will make you better, something that will challenge you, something that will force you to level up. Think about the most successful people in the world. They are always learning, always growing, always seeking out new information that keeps them sharp. They understand that knowledge is power, but not just any knowledge. It's the kind of knowledge that pushes them to think differently, to see opportunities where others see obstacles, to keep moving forward even when the road ahead seems unclear. You must do the same. The more you learn, the more focused you become. The more you challenge your thinking, the more clarity you gain. This is why the most successful people are also the most curious. They don't stop learning because they understand that learning is the key to staying ahead of the curve. It's the key to staying sharp, to staying focused, and to staying in control of your own destiny. Now let's talk about what happens when you stop learning. When you stop feeding your mind with new knowledge, you start to stagnate. Your focus begins to erode, your clarity fades, and your productivity plummets. You start to feel like you're going through the motions, like you're stuck in a rut, unable to move forward. The world moves fast, and if you're not constantly learning, constantly sharpening your focus, you'll get left behind. But the moment you start feeding your mind with knowledge that challenges you, everything shifts. Your focus becomes sharper, your direction clearer, and your actions more intentional. You start to see opportunities everywhere, because you've trained your mind to focus on the right things, the things that will move you forward. And when you focus on the right things, everything else falls into place. The key here is consistency. You can't just learn for a day, a week, or a month, and expect your life to change. You have to stay hungry for knowledge every single day. You have to make learning a non-negotiable part of your routine. Just like you eat every day to fuel your body, you need to feed your mind every day to fuel your focus. The more you feed it, the sharper it becomes. The sharper it becomes, the more powerful you become. But there's a catch. You have to be strategic about what you learn. Don't waste time on knowledge that doesn't serve you. Don't get lost in the weeds of irrelevant information. Instead, seek out knowledge that directly impacts your goals, your growth, and your ability to stay focused. Read books, listen to podcasts, watch videos that challenge your thinking, that expand your mind, that push you to do better. But be intentional about it. Be deliberate in your pursuit of knowledge that sharpens your focus and propels you forward. It's easy to get caught up in the daily grind, in the hustle, in the distractions. But if you truly want to stay focused and make progress, you must prioritize learning. Learning is the fuel that keeps your focus sharp and your mind clear. It is the one thing that separates those who succeed from those who don't. The ones who keep learning, keep growing, and keep sharpening their focus are the ones who ultimately achieve their goals and live their dreams. So how do you stay hungry for knowledge? First, make learning a daily habit. Set aside time each day to read, to listen, to absorb new information that challenges your thinking and expands your horizons. Second, actively seek out knowledge that pushes you to grow, that forces you to confront your weaknesses and expand your understanding of the world. Third, stay curious. Ask questions, question everything. Don't just accept things at face value. Dig deeper, challenge your assumptions, and always be looking for ways to improve. And finally, stay humble. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. The moment you stop being hungry for knowledge is the moment you stop growing. So keep your hunger alive. Feed your mind, stay curious, keep learning, and keep sharpening your focus. The world is full of distractions, but the ones who stay hungry for knowledge are the ones who rise above the noise and make their mark on the world. Now it's time for you to take action. What will you learn today? What will you do to feed your mind and sharpen your focus? The journey to greatness starts with your hunger for knowledge. So feed it, nurture it, and let it propel you to new heights. The world is waiting for you to show up, focused and ready to conquer. Stay hungry, stay sharp, and keep learning. Your future self will thank you for it.